And I don't ever wanna feel like I did that day. So take me to the place I love. Take me all the way. And I don't ever wanna.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, what is good? My name is Sen, and welcome back to The Mix. It's been more than long enough. I haven't run an episode of The Mix in a long time, but it's the podcast where I talk about wherever, wherever. And today, however, I actually have a very special guest with me, someone who hasn't been on the podcast already. Please announce yourself, sir.
I'm Cody Polachek. I'm a good friend of Brad, so
Good friend indeed, and a good friend in question. How the hell are you, my brother?
I'm good, dude. I'm good. It's a beautiful Monday. I have the day off, so I'm way good.
Dude, it's actually great to have you on because you're someone I wanted to have on the podcast for more than long enough, to be quite honest. We've talked about this extensively for some time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, this
What do you
man,
wanna talk about first?
we talk about so much shit, but starting things off, I want you to not just introduce your name, but also introduce a little bit of what you do, where people can find you, so on and so forth.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a musician. I have multiple band projects. One of them being a project that's EDM music called 191. You can find that on SoundCloud under 191, spelt out 191. Also have a solo project where I make my music, which is under the same name, Cody Polachek, as my actual name. And then I have a band that I'm starting up called Poolside Manor, which we're about to be practicing here soon. So that's mainly what I do, apart from my job, obviously. I also Twitch stream too, under Codemeister P, that's CODEMEISTERP. And I'm not very frequent on that, but I do it every once in a while. And but I'm mainly a musician.
I'm definitely gonna have to look back at all this and try my best to put it on the description. But if it is in the description, go swing by, give the man some love, whether that be a follow, a sub, or whatever the fuck that
I
means.
appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, man, I gotta share the love out here. It is a platform for sharing.
So speaking of stuff we do, how is your channel coming along? What are you playing through?
Oh man, at the moment, Pokemon, doing my first Nuzlocke. That has been pretty fun. I actually haven't been able to get around to that too much, but a lot of it's fighting games. Honestly, I don't even remember what I let's play these days. A little bit Tony Hawk Project 8, pretty sparingly.
Oh, nice, classic.
Dude, I know that game does not.
Underrated.
That game absolutely does not get enough love.
No, yeah, I think we've talked about this a little bit before, but I just feel like it's vastly underrated, just because it was kind of one of those games that came out right at the beginning of that console generation of the PS3, 360. I mean, Wasteland came out with the 360 and the PS2, so it was before the PS3, but Project 8 was the first real next gen Tony Hawk game, and a lot of people because from what I heard, the Project 8 version that's on the PS2 is completely different than
Really?
the PS3
I've
and
never
360.
touched
Yeah,
the
it's not
PS2 version.
even Neversoft that made it. It's
Really?
another studio. Yeah, it's just some smaller studio under Activision, and how Project 8's a open world kind of
More or less, yeah.
Project 8 on the PS2 is the exact opposite. It's almost like old school pro skater games where you just kind
Really?
of jump between levels. Yeah, from what I hear. But a lot of people shit on that game, and I don't quite get it because I love it. I love how weighty it feels. It's the first Tony Hawk game that really feels weighty when you do your tricks, and I don't know. I just kind of went on a huge fucking ramble right there about Project 8,
that is
I
definitely one of the reasons why I brought you on here. Because for those of you that don't know, Cody and I talk about just about anything and everything, and it's weird how much shit in common we actually have.
Oh yeah, we skate together too.
Yeah, so on top of skating, on top of video games, on top of movies, one of the recent endeavors we've kind of gone together on is me and Troy have been kind of talking about golfing. We've gone out and golfed a game once.
Mm-hmm.
I've been picking up a little bit more. I actually went, and while my car was getting patched up for its tire, I hit a couple balls, and I ruptured my blood blister that I already had on my hand, and my glove is nice and bloody now. It's pretty tight. But
that's a bummer, dude.
It's just strange how many things we have in common. I remember I was talking to you about a game we happened to be playing at the same time without even talking to each other. It was Oh my goodness, I cannot think of it. But it damn, I really
What was it? I'll try to help you put the
it
pieces
was
together. Is it
around
single player?
we were
Single player
playing,
game
yes, it was single player. We were playing it around Halloween.
of last year?
Yes.
Was it a Resident Evil game?
No, but it's like along those lines. The Evil Within.
The Evil Within. Yeah.
Yeah,
There we go.
so The Evil Within, the first game has some time on it, and without even talking to each other, Cody and I started playing it at the exact same time.
Yeah,
We
it's scary.
yeah,
It's
like
eerie.
we
We've been
like
mistaken as brothers before too.
that has happened a couple of times. It's quite strange, and like
Yeah.
we love the same fucking movies, the same games. Man,
Oh,
yeah, we just go on tangents. But I think the first place I want to start is actually you sent me just recently today while I was actually getting my tire patched up the second trailer for The Matrix.
Oh, thank God we're starting there because
Dude.
I haven't talked about this with anybody yet. Not even my roommates, so I'm excited. You saw it, right?
Yeah, I watched it. It was like pretty quiet because I didn't want to like disrupt other people or whatever that were waiting. But yeah, I mean, it comes across like that Neo has no recollection of like who he is or what he's done, and like he's kind
Right.
of it also seems the same way with Trinity as well.
Yeah, I've watched the trailer a few times now, and it kind of seems like it's hinting more towards the idea that Trinity might be more important than Neo. I don't know if you gathered that too, just kind of like from what was said in the trailer, like how one of the lines that was said was that at one point Trinity once believed in me, and now it's my turn to kind of believe in her. And like you notice that Trinity's the one that's on the bike and Neo's in the back when he like pushes the car back and stuff like that. Like little things like that make me think I'm like, huh, maybe
It's
this is more about Trinity's.
reminiscent of. Do you recall when Neo was first captured by Smith, and she was waiting for him on the bike or whatever? Like that kind of comes across to me as like, oh, what if like he actually came with her kind of sequence?
Yeah, you're talking about that that scene where he's like, "I give you the finger,
So
you give me my phone call."
you give
Yeah,
me
that-
my phone call. I give
Yeah.
you. Yeah, that's so great. It's like, oh, what good would a phone call do you without a mouth?
Yeah, if you. I just watched the first
God,
movie, so the lines are fresh in my brain.
I-
Dude, you know what's funny? I remember the first time I think I've told you this story, but I'll just say it again for the sake of it. But the first time I ever saw The Matrix, I didn't even like watch it. I was on vacation with my parents, and I was like 5 years old, and we stayed at like a hotel, and they had like, you know how hotels just have like basic cable on. At least when I was a kid, you know, this is like 2000 something.
Totally,
so
yeah.
So my dad was just flicking through the channels. My mom was going and doing something else, and The Matrix was on. And it was that scene. And my dad's like, "Oh, the fucking Matrix." And I was like, "The Matrix?" And he's like, "Yeah, this movie's awesome." So
yeah.
we're watching it, and it's that scene. But it's like right when he says that, where he's like, "You're unable to speak," and Neo's mouth just starts getting sewn together. 5-year-old me about
Oh,
shit my pants.
horror
I was
stories, bro.
so scary. And then then my mom comes in and she's like, "Mark, what are you having him watch?" He's like, "It's just The Matrix." She's like, "Turn that off."
It's like, oh, I'm
"Sorry,
trying to free his mind, honey.
buddy." Yeah.
Give
And
me
he's
a
like- he's like,
fucking
"I'm sorry,
break."
buddy." And he like turned the channel. I was like, "What?" I was like, "I wanted to watch that." He's like, "I know, but we're gonna have to wait till you're older." I was like, "Damn it."
Oh,
But I
man.
remember that vividly, and then like ever since I saw that scene, I was like, I want to watch The Matrix. And
One
God,
of
I'm
the-
so glad I wanted to see it because it's such a great movie.
You know, I don't remember exactly one of the first times I watched it. Like, I don't know my exact response, but I remember, I think my dad had got it because my dad used to travel all the time for his work. So he got his hands on a copy out from, like, Hong Kong or something like that. And, like, it was The Matrix, but it had, like, these, like, what is it they speak out there, like, Cantonese or whatever?
Yeah, the Mandarin or Cantonese. Yeah.
Yeah, they had the subtitles in that. I'm just like, oh, okay, all right, I see you. But yeah, like that was my first some of my first exposures to the Matrix, and I had like summers where I would sleep out in the media room that we had and just watch that all night, every night. Like I watched that movie like at least 100 times.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, it's in my top 5 all-time favorite movies, like easily. Like the first Matrix in particular. I just watching
I
it
agree.
again today. I've seen it so many times, dude, and I watched it again today after the hype of that trailer, and I was like, it's one of those movies where almost every damn line in it is quotable
Priceless.
and iconic. Yeah,
Oh
like
my
almost
goodness.
every single line by anybody.
Wait,
And like even the action scenes still hold up. Like it's phenomenal. I could talk about The Matrix for its own
oh
podcast.
yeah,
Like
absolutely. That's why I knew it was gonna be trouble if and when I did get you on the podcast, because like
yeah.
without a doubt in my mind, it's like, oh yeah, this is gonna go on for like 3 hours.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If I can talk about any one of the things, I mean, we both can. That's the one thing about like we do this at work
Oh, I
or
know.
even outside of
It's
work. And
bad. This is why they can't have us work together, Cody. Like it's
no, I know. It's like literally they have to split us up when we're picking. It's like they got to put me at one end of the warehouse and put you at the other end because if we're anywhere near each other,
they're
we'll
gonna
just
free
stop
their
and talk.
minds. No,
You know, fucking yeah, yeah, yeah.
you think
Yeah,
that's still
dude.
those you're picking? Oh,
Yeah, exactly. It's just bullet time, but it's people throwing dildos at us, and we're just like slow motion dodging them. Like,
you think my UPH has anything to do with how fast I am, or my muscles? No, I've just been working here way too long.
you think that's rate you're hitting?
Oh.
Like, is that us? Yeah.
No, it's definitely not. It's definitely not. Well, okay, so I I've talked to you a number of times about, the Matrix explained theory of the storyline following the game The Matrix Online, where like Morpheus is kind of going rogue to attempt to get Neo's body back. Like, where do you stand on that? Like,
I don't know. So the thing I kind of noticed once again with because it's so vague, I've heard that storyline on The Matrix Online is canon, at
oh
least to
really?
the overall story. That's what I've heard. I don't know if this is like true as far as like what the new movie's about to bring to the table, but just given from what I've seen from the trailers, which is not much, which honestly I love that. I love how vague everything is with this new storyline
I mean,
because
that comes across as like a real good teaser. Like, it leaves you
Mhm.
wanting more for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I don't want anything. So I want to be surprised when I see the movie, right? Kind of with like the Spider-Man movie, but we'll get into that later on. But just sticking on topic here. With the
Candy
Matrix.
swinging from a web. Let me get my violin out. Hold on.
Do it. No, but the new one, the thing I noticed is I'm pretty sure that the older lady that Neo was talking to in the trailer was
Oracle.
Niobe, right?
Really? You think it's Niobe?
I think so, because then that would make sense as far as outside of the Matrix, it being after Revelations, right? At least like timeline wise, right?
I
So if they
assumed.
rebooted it.
I'm like, I didn't get a great chance to listen to the lines delivered, but I assumed just by appearance it was Oracle. I don't know. I'm gonna have to take another look back.
I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know, but that's just what I gathered. So maybe it does take place after Matrix Online, because from what I hear, Matrix Online is after Revelations. So
So what I'm
I
wondering,
don't know.
is it a new Smith? Is that
I don't know about that either, because you could see the parallels obviously in the trailer of like, but I feel like that's kind of the point of the movie is because Neo immediately recognizes that he's like this is familiar,
like
you know,
Smith
when he-
incarnate?
Like he even says he's like I remember this and stuff like that, which
Mhm.
makes it even more interesting to know. I don't know, like even the fact that like that on that giant screen was the first Matrix movie. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Like, oh man, I'm gonna have to go back and digest this shit again, because having a look in Les Schwab while you're trying to like be quiet and considerate of the people around you is not the way. Not the way.
Yeah.
I need to listen to my Matrix full blast in my
Oh no,
ears.
for sure, for sure.
Oh,
for sure.
man. Okay, so you and I are both in agreement that the first one is our favorite. Like, did you recently watch the second and third one? Like, do you have any thoughts on those and maybe how they play into things?
I watched the second and third one a year ago, so I'm more obviously I'm
A little
more
more
caught up in
rusty,
the first one.
okay.
Yeah, I've seen them, so I remember a lot of points about it, like plot wise, but I'm not like I can't like quote them like the first one. I've seen
No,
the first one.
it's
God
way
knows how
too
many times.
iconic as well. The first one.
Yeah, I will say though, when I did watch them last year, I actually ended up liking them more than I thought I would. So I don't know what that says about you know what this new movie's going to be about or anything like that. It just seems like the new one's kind of just like retreading a lot of beats of the first one. It doesn't really seem like it's swimming around too much of the plot of the second and third one. The only thing I noticed is in the first trailer for Resurrections, you get one shot of Neo and his eyes are singed.
His
I don't know if
eyes
you
are
remember.
singed.
Yeah, remember, you've seen Revelations, right? The third one?
Yes.
Do you remember, spoiler alert for a movie that's way old, but it came out like 2003, so I don't feel too bad. But at the end of the movie,
When
when Agent
he,
Smith comes out of
yeah,
the Matrix, yeah, he burns Neo's eyes with a power cable, right? And then
yeah,
he makes that agreement with the machines to get jacked in the Matrix, basically to
like
save humanity or
reinsert.
whatever.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get.
But he was blind, right? So
Yeah,
you
okay,
get
I
you get
recall
a
that.
shot of that in that new trailer. So obviously it's going to have some sort of reference to that with this new movie. It's not like they're just going to completely, you
Retcon.
know, right? Exactly. And I will say I did like the second and third one. I wouldn't say I liked it as much as the first one, but I did like those movies.
Damn, I'm gonna have to go back and fucking frame by frame this shit. God damn. Yeah,
What
I'm.
in the trailer?
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
way too excited right now. Like, talking about the
tickets go on
Matrix in
sale
any
today, dude.
capacity, and I know personally, like, I know you've played a bunch of Path of Neo as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm pretty sure I still have that game.
Me too.
Ah, damn, I might need to go back for this game as well.
I would say I actually played that game like a month or two ago. I
Really?
didn't fully complete it, but I got about halfway through it. I should complete it.
Would you say it
But
still holds up pretty good?
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
man, so totally off topic, but I tried, like, this is on the topic of old games and playing them again recent, but I tried
Yeah.
to play the port of Resident Evil 4 on PlayStation. Oh
Yep.
man, I like the controls just feel so like clunky. One, I'm not like a controller player for shooting really. Um,
Uh-huh.
and I do have the game on PC, so maybe I should just do that, but it just felt so gross. Like the moving, like the aiming, I don't know how I did that back in the day. Like it just feels so not intuitive. Like
Yeah, I mean, once again, Resident Evil 4 for me, like I totally get that. I totally get it, and returning to it is probably like a nightmare
rough,
for some
yeah.
people who haven't played it in years, but I feel like that's one of those few games I play every year that it's like seared into my memory, at least the control scheme.
Okay.
So for me, it's not that big of a deal, but I would be lying if I said that it didn't feel dated. However, they are remaking that game.
Really?
So maybe it would be best to just wait until Capcom puts out the Resident Evil 4 remake. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
maybe.
Um, and it'll probably play like Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3 remake, which I mean,
I'm good
fuck.
with. That sounds fucking
2 is
fantastic.
actually, in my opinion, I think the 2 remake is the best one.
I
Like,
completely agree.
it is so good. And I used to be 4, but that says a lot.
I
You
really
know,
couldn't get behind the 7 and 8. Um,
didn't play 8.
I was kind of exposed to the story. Like, I kind of just watched it and listened to it while I was at work. And
Mhm.
normally for me, when I listen to a Let's Play or watch a Let's Play, it doesn't deter me from wanting to play the game really ever. In fact, like, I'm just like, man, I really need to play this game now. Like, this looks fantastic. But that actually
Yeah.
happened to me with 7 and 8. After I was done listening to them and watching them, I was just like, you know what, I think I'm good.
So I'll just sorry not to cut you off.
No,
But
go
just
for it,
kind of make a point about 7 because I haven't played 8. I've heard a lot of mixed things about 8. Some because I have a couple friends that are diehard fans of Resident Evil like me as well. Some of them said they loved it, and I have a couple friends that said they absolutely hated it. That the story like completely derails from what was built before it. So I don't know really how to feel about it. Plus, a part of me is just like, I don't have a PS5 yet, so I want to wait until I get a PS5 to get this game. Like, I've been really like reserving myself from buying any new games because I still only have a PS4, but I
I
digress. The thing I will say about 7 though is that I've played 7 and I have it on the PS4 and I can play it in VR.
that sounds awful.
That it is one of the scariest experiences I've ever had in my entire life, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, now, I've never played it outside of VR, so I can't really say
Really?
if
Okay.
it's like I've only played it in VR, and I've only played it twice because it's just that scary. So in VR, I would say it is up there for me as one of the best Resident Evils
Okay.
as a VR game.
That's
But
kind
if
of
you,
that's kind of cool though, cause like I've never heard someone that's just like I've only experienced the version of this game that's just in virtual reality. Like
Yes. Yeah.
I think it's actually really sick, to be honest.
Yeah, and I mean, not a lot of people played it in VR, so when I hear people go like, "Ah, it was okay," I mean, like, I can understand because I'm like, you don't understand the difference between playing that game outside of VR and in VR. In VR, it is such a different atmospheric experience. Like, I remember there was one point when I first played that game where you had to walk into a room. Have you played 7 or no?
Mostly, yeah.
Okay, do you remember a scene where you have to walk into, I think her name was Samantha. You have to walk into her, like, her bedroom and it's completely dark. It's like there's nothing but kids' toys everywhere and like a bouncy
Very
ball rolls.
vaguely. I think this was like Let's Play territory. This is what I listened to on a Let's Play. I didn't get super far playing it myself.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but go on.
Yeah, so the only thing I'm going to say is that when I went in that room for the first time with the headset on and I saw like the bouncy ball like roll in front of me, I mean, just put yourself in the shoes of the character for a second.
Oh,
like,
okay.
I know it sounds ridiculous, but imagine being in VR where all you're seeing is pitch black and you see a bouncy ball roll in front of you and a little girl laugh. I shit you not, dude. I had to take the headset off and go like, I can't play this. Like, it literally scared me that bad.
Okay, so
like, you get so engrossed into it, it's insane.
I can actually get behind that because I have a Oculus Quest 2, and
oh, nice.
it was actually the same. I got that same time around when I got my PS5. I got that 2 days before I got my PS5. So
no shit.
Within that 2-day period, I spent like $1,000. But
damn, dude. All right, big spender over here.
A little bit. I have some bad habits. But speaking of Resident Evil in VR, you made me like realize that RE4 is in VR.
Yeah, it is now.
I forgot about that. So maybe that might be the best way to play the game. I'm not sure.
And I think it's specifically for the Oculus, as a matter of fact.
So
that, yeah, I would say
at least give it a try. I don't know.
Oh, absolutely. Because I mean, you're the only person I know who has an Oculus, so I would love for you to report back to me. And
I will absolutely
know
what I will let you know what I am buying and what I am selling. All right.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that for insert classic meme.
Dude, wait. So does the Oculus have those like controllers where it's like the motion controllers, like the Vive?
Yes.
It does, because I've seen some gameplay for Resident Evil 4, and it looks like you can like move the gun around, like you could throw your like handgun into your other hand and shit. And I was like,
oh word,
cool. That's like,
damn.
That's what it looked like. It looked pretty interactive.
I'm gonna
like,
let's play this in VR.
Yeah, the way it worked with the PSVR on Resident Evil 7 is that it was just like a first-person shooter, but wherever you aimed your head, your character's hands would be aiming there. Like the like your, you know how it is like with a first-person shooter, like wherever you move the right stick, the character just aims the gun there.
Yeah.
It's like that, but it's not the right stick. It's wherever you point your head. So you use your head to aim.
That's
it's
interesting.
Really weird.
Okay.
But once you get used to it, it's man, you get so into that game. I'm telling you, like it's.
You know, it's
crazy.
Another like really good game in VR. Or good game in general is Super Hot. Have you ever played that?
I have heard of it. I have never played it.
It's worth a play in both VR and on PC. Like it is very, very good.
I've heard about it, like I said, and I've seen it on sale for the PS4. You can play it on the PSVR. So I might have to pick it up.
Dude, if you could play that on PSVR, definitely play that because that shit is so much fun.
I've played Beat Saber. I've played quite a bit of VR games, but Super Hot is the one I haven't gotten around to, but I've heard good things about it.
Definitely give it a go.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, and this is what I mean with my boy Cody, with me and him and the tangents, because we just went from one thing to like 50 others. We started talking about the Matrix.
What did we start talking about? The Matrix?
And now we're back to kind of the Matrix, talking about Super Hot.
Yeah, dude, you know what? Speaking of, this is going to come full circle right here, dude.
Lay it on
segue.
me.
So, VR, right?
Okay.
They just announced another trailer called The Matrix Awakens, and it's a video game, and I think it's a VR game.
Word?
I am dead serious. It's a teaser, and it's just it was just Keanu Reeves, and he was saying something. I mean, literally, it was like a 10-second teaser, but it's made in Unreal Engine 5, and everyone is speculating that it's going to be a VR game. But like, I mean, how perfect,
dude?
Right?
That sounds fucking sick.
I mean, literally, imagine putting the headset as like jacking yourself into the Matrix. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the Matrix is like a perfect platform for a VR game. So I'm way hyped for it.
Free your fucking mind.
I mean, yeah, dude. Like, that's
Are you
it's crazy.
listening, or are you busy looking at the woman in the red dress?
Yeah.
Look again, motherfucker. Oh
The
man.
agents have tapped into the line. Tank, I need an exit.
It's too good. I need to watch these movies again. Speaking of
dude.
movie that I need to watch, uh, Cody did preface me that I should definitely watch X-Men Days of Future Past, but I didn't get around to it, sadly. Just life, lots of things happening all at one time. But man,
Yeah.
I did get around to watching the first X-Men movie, and I forgot how, like, I remember it being good, but I forgot how, like, good it is, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the thing I like about the X-Men movies is a lot of people will be like, "Oh, Wolverine," which he is a huge highlight. Hugh Jackman
Without
owns
doubt.
that role, owns the role. What I think is honestly the heart and soul of the X-Men movies, all of them across the board, is Professor Xavier and Magneto's relationship. It hands down
100%.
seals the deal of what it makes it such a compelling film. I mean, you can apply the themes of the X-Men movies to like real life situations, you know what I mean? And I mean, it's so good. I mean, both performances by I believe Ian McDermott and Patrick Stewart, right?
Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen, sorry.
No, you're
Ian
good.
McKellen.
I
Stewart.
so
Fantastic.
when I was trying to think of Patrick Stewart's name, I did like a meshing. I said Neil Patrick Stewart. So like Neil Patrick Harris and Patrick Stewart. Yeah, I had a brain dumb.
Neil Patrick Harris is actually in the new Matrix movie.
Is he actually?
Yeah, he's in the first trailer. He's Neo's therapist.
What the fuck?
Yeah, dude. Talk about
Oh man.
Talk about being in a simulation.
I
All
think
these
I've told
conversations
you
are like
this.
full circle.
Yeah, speaking of full circle, did you know Neil Patrick Harris played as Peter Parker in like this Spider-Man like 3D
MTV animated
Yes.
show. Yes, dude.
dude,
Yeah, dude.
my brain is
It
just
came
like
out-
exploding right now.
I believe that was technically canon for a while too, because it came out right when the first Tobey Maguire movie came out,
Yeah.
and I want to say it was a prequel to Spider-Man 1. I don't remember exactly. So they were like, it's
It-
technically.
Followed a
Canon.
chronology of something for sure.
Yeah. Then I guess it just wasn't successful, and they canceled it after. I don't even know if it finished a full season. I don't know. But
I
yes,
don't
I know what
recall
show you're
either.
talking about. I know what show you're talking about. Yes, I totally remember it.
Well, yeah, doubling back to X-Men,
Yeah.
I would 100% agree. Like, one of the first things I thought, like, while in the middle and while watching the movie was like, yeah, Magneto and Professor X are definitely, like, two sides of the same coin. They both want the same thing, but are, like, looking for different means of getting there and getting what they want.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's really compelling, like I was kind of touching upon earlier about it, is that someone like Magneto is such a compelling bad guy, because it's like you can't just sit there and say, oh, well, fuck him, he's a terrible guy, like I want to hate him. You can't hate him, which makes like villains in movies like that are so compelling when you as the audience go like, I can understand where he's coming from. You know what I mean? Like I understand his motives. I'm not saying I agree with them, but it's like I can't help but be like, okay, yeah, like I understand his way of thinking. I understand why he is doing what he's doing, and even Patrick Stewart understands that. That's why they still consider themselves friends. Like that, their dynamic is just so
It's
three-dimensional.
too
All
good.
the character, yeah, it's so good. And I will say, dude, that's why I think you should watch Days of Future Past, or how I call it, Today, Tomorrow, Yesterday.
What is yesterday if today's tomorrow?
Yeah, I think you would really like it, because even James McAvoy, who plays
Yep.
young Professor Xavier, and oh my God, why can I not think of his name?
Whoever the fuck that plays Magneto.
Magneto, yeah. Oh man, he's such a good actor too, and I can't think of his name. Anyways,
I assume they kind of capture that same.
Michael Fassbender. So Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy, yeah, they're perfect, dude. I would honestly say it's even more compelling than the original performances by Patrick Stewart, and that's saying a lot, because I love the original actors, but I'm just saying, like, they add those two new actors that played them, the younger versions, they add so much more to those characters, give them so much more backstory to their friendship, and it is so good, dude. It's so good. Like, it's my favorite X-Men movie.
Yeah, one of the things that like one of the things I could think of from the first movie is like how like Professor X is like crippled because Mystique sneaks in and dirties up his blue Gatorade. Man, that they to think that movie came out in 2000, to think so much good shit came around in like the early 2000s. Like I remember loving X2 even more than X-Men the original. And
Yes,
you
it
know, the
is that.
Tobey Maguire films came around then. Matrix came out in 99.
Hmm.
Like there was, and oh man, I forgot I wanted to talk about this, but like the level of CGI in the original Matrix is like amazing. Like it's unnoticeable. Like I didn't even notice, and I think I've talked to you about this before. Excuse me. I think I've talked to you about this before, but yeah, the subway scene, the rooftops, when you know you get the famous Trinity, help!
Yeah. Oh God, like iconic, dude.
Like
I know exactly. Dodge this.
yeah,
Boom, blows his fucking brains out. He's so
those
good. So
buildings,
good.
those buildings, that subway, CG.
Hmm.
Yeah, it looks
Did
real as
not know that.
shit, and is
I didn't know that. Huh.
computerly generated.
You know, the thing I've thought about when, because I remember watching the sequels and going like, I like these, but I was like, for some reason, it feels more fake than the original movie. And going back and watching the movie again today, I think I realized why. I think it's because they overused CGI in the sequels because they had the technology and they're like, wow, this actually worked really well in the first one. Let's just kind of bump that up a little bit. But CGI hadn't gotten to the point where it is today, so it's more dated. But the first movie uses a lot of practical effects. That's why a lot of the fight scenes look so good even today. Like, you know, like even the subway scene where Agent Smith and Neo are fighting. I mean, there's a scene where Agent Smith punches one of the pillars and the brick wall breaks away. That's a real brick wall breaking away. And from what I heard when they filmed that scene, is that one of the set guys was like, "All right, you're gonna punch this side of the wall and it's gonna break away. So just hit it as hard as you can." And then he did, and it didn't break away because it wasn't the right corner, and he broke his hand. He broke his hand, dude.
Oh man, that
That wasn't CG. So that's my point is that he actually was punching through. I mean, granted, it was supposed to be breakaway, but like, you know, they were actually choreographed fight scenes, you know, for the most part. So
it definitely
it
makes
holds
me
up.
feel like a bit of an old man where I'm like, you damn kids with all your computer graphics. Like,
Yeah.
I remember back in my day, it was all like, not all practical, because as I just explained, like some of the Matrix scenes are CG, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, like I, for the longest time, that was undetected by me. Like, I didn't know that the buildings were fake. I didn't know that the subway was fake.
I think we're at a point now where CG is so good that I feel like it. I mean, they probably said this like 10 years ago, but I feel like we're really at a point now where CG has gotten so good that I don't feel like it's going to be as dated 10 years from now. Like, I don't think a movie like Infinity War or Endgame is going to feel really dated in 10 years. I think that's a type of movie that people are going to watch 10 years from now and be like, that's still a great movie that holds up. You know what I mean?
I mean, you
Like,
could do that same thing with movies just 10 years ago. Like, when did the,
mhm.
oh man, why can't I think of it? When did Avatar come out? Like 2012, right? Or am I
Yeah,
mistaken? It's like
no,
around
you're
there.
probably, I think you're right. Or maybe it's older. When did, here, I've got Google right here. I'll look it up.
Yeah, because
But,
like
yeah,
that
go
movie
on.
comes across to me as like still like a cornerstone of like visual prowess of like, dude, look at how fucking far we've come.
2009. Yeah.
Oh man,
I
it's
see what
older than
you're
I
saying.
thought.
Yeah, it's 2009, and you're absolutely right. It does still. I mean, you could watch that movie, and it still doesn't feel
Yeah, you could
dated. Yeah, that's
re-release it today as is to someone who's never watched it and be like, yeah, this is amazing brand new movie, and it totally comes across.
2009 too. That's
Dude,
crazy.
I definitely get
Crazy.
these feelings like quite often where I'm just like, man, I'm way too old. Like I feel older than I
Oh,
actually am.
oh, dude, you and me both, man. Every day I'm like, you know, it's funny, just kind of talking about like, kind of just running with that idea and just talking about like culture and how it's changed so much. I mean, I feel like our generation, yours and mine, because you're 24, right?
Yes, sir.
So we're the same exact age. But you remember being a kid and like there was no internet craze like it is today. Like we grew up when it was happening. You know what I mean?
100%.
So like there was like a period where it was like you go outside and play with your friends and then come in and you can play video games, but you like if you wanted to play with your friends, your friend came over and played split screen with you. Like you know what I'm talking about?
I miss that shit, bro.
Right, and then we grew up right in the period where online was getting popular, then Wi-Fi and all that. But now there's like a whole generation of kids, which blows my mind, that there's a whole generation of kids that are like in high school right now that have never known anything outside of the internet. They never grew up like the way we did. We were like the last generation
Word.
that didn't have a cell phone in our pocket or a tablet on us at all times. You know what I mean? And that really dates me. That makes me feel really old.
I get totally envious of my dad because he like really grew up in like the cornerstone of technology. Like he put himself in a place where, you know, what I'll say is my dad is an amazing person and representation of like, oh yes, like school, like go to school to learn this. Like he's gone back to school so many times, but you know, he's seen like the original computers. Like he's seen like technology just have this huge increase, and like I would say the year 2000 is like the genesis point of where like everything like magnified.
Oh yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
2000
cell
was
phones
like
became common.
Yeah, 2000 was like the turning stone of like this, like everything just exploding. And you know, weirdly enough, my dad being so technologically inclined, and just exposed to so much, like I would have figured he would have known more than me, but I distinctly remember, like I don't remember if it's like a game show or something like that, but it was asking like when did like caller ID like come into the question. When was caller ID made? And everyone in my family answered like, oh, like 90s, and I was the only one that got it right, and it was actually 88, I believe.
Crazy.
And I was the only one
that.
to get it right for some reason. I thought that was
Yeah.
so funny. I'm just like, you guys were like alive when this shit was like around. I was not.
Yeah. I mean, well, I think it's. I mean, if you really think about like when the internet like was like kind of accessible to the public, you would probably be like, oh, it was accessible like 2006, 2007 when everyone had it, and it's like, no, it was actually invented way older than
Like
that, but
before,
it only got popular until then. So that you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it was just like one of those funny things where like, oh, come on, guys, you should know this. Like, I'm the young cat in this room. But yeah, like going back, like I 100% agree. Where like, you know, kids these days, they don't know what a goddamn VHS is. They don't know what cassette is. They like vinyl is like resurged. So
like, absolutely.
It's likely that they know what this is. But like, yeah, my kid, like my 5-year-old kid, like Sam lets him use her old Switch because I got her an OLED, and she doesn't need to use it anymore, right? So like he uses it now all the time, and I'm just like, dude, you don't know where this all started. And
it's crazy.
I remember being so satisfied just with like that one game or so, like every so often that you get from your parents. And
I feel blessed. Not to cut you
no,
off.
Go.
I'm just hearing what you're saying. It just makes me think of like when we were kids. I mean, not only were we at like the start of like the age of the internet and I mean technology as we know it today, where it's like everyone's got a screen in their pocket. But I mean, like you said, like what your kids are experiencing right now, all they're ever gonna know is like superheroes are the most popular thing on the planet. Like, but when we were kids, it was like all we had was the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie, and that's really what kickstarted all this. Like we were there at the beginning of that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So like, I mean, there's a generation of kids that are like, there was never a point when Marvel wasn't cool, and I was like, yeah, there was. I'm like, I'm telling you, it was nerdy to like superheroes when I was a kid. Now it's not. Like now everybody loves superheroes. It's such a different change in culture. It blows my mind because I've always been a nerd about this shit. It's just now cool to be a nerd about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's kind of a little bit of a piss off, not too much, because I'm just like, yes, revel in the nerd, my brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
But like,
I was a fan before you. Yeah. No, I know.
There is like a little bit of that in me because like it's so like mainstream.
We would get shit
now.
for it. I don't know about you, but like I would get shit for it as a kid. Where it's just like you like super like Spider-Man's not that cool, Cody. I'm like, dude, yeah, he is. As I'm sitting there with my glasses on and my striped button shirt with my Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 13 in my hand. I'm like, it's way cool.
Listen here, you son of a bitch.
I'm telling you, one day this will be the best-selling movie of all time.
Yeah.
And yeah,
it's crazy.
now every little kid is like clad in like Spider-Man something, like Spider-Man t-shirts, Spider-Man pants, like pajamas, bed sheets, all that.
Even Iron Man, someone you never thought. I mean, when I was a kid, Iron Man was not that cool. Now he's like so cool. You know what I mean? Like Iron Man was cool, but he just wasn't like Spider-Man, Hulk. He wasn't like a top tier superhero. Now he is. Like all of them are.
Yeah.
Like, Captain America is. Even like unknown ones like Guardians of the Galaxy was not very big until the movies came out. You know what I mean? And now it's huge. Now all these characters are just insanely famous. It's
and
crazy.
part of that too is like I'm kind of excited because like I at least have one son, if not two, that will like end up loving Spider-Man. Like the other one's 2 years old. He doesn't know what's what right now. But if they do love Spider-Man and Batman and so on and so forth, like I get this feeling of like, man, I can't wait to show you guys some of like the really good shit, like something like a Superior Spider-Man or what are some of the other fucking comics? I can't think of any right now. Or like the early 2000s show, like the 2003 2004 whatever it was, Spider-Man the animated series. Like I love that show to death. Like that show is super near and dear to my heart.
Or Batman the animated series.
Absolutely.
God,
yeah.
too.
And I talked to you a bit about this before, but I'll kind of touch up on the easier question of I talked to you about like, oh hey, if you had to give up one, anime or like superheroes and stuff.
I've been hoping to avoid this question.
No, you're gonna get the hard one in a second. So I kind of thought a bit about it myself, and it's very dependent on when I would forget. So if I had to forget and like not be exposed to it ever since like my birth, I'd forget anime, because I feel like superheroes would like shape me into a better person potentially, and like they did have like maybe more impact on me as a kid. Especially like a show like Static Shock. I don't know if you've ever watched that before.
Yes.
Yeah. Like I feel like after I watched any episode of that show, like I morally became a better person. Like there were so many like beats that that show just hit like deep down in your soul. But same thing for like morals of Spider-Man, like Batman as well.
I mean, I just feel like it's hard because I feel like there's no wrong answer.
No,
you know what
absolutely
I mean?
not.
I feel like either one has kind of the same moral lessons, I guess. If you're like growing up in your adolescence, trying to figure yourself out, figure out your own morality and what makes being a good person. I mean, I feel like those beats are in both anime and superheroes, both. So I mean, me personally, I would say I would rather keep superheroes just because I feel like they've more had an impact on my life and the way I think today than anime. But that's not to downplay anime. Like I said, I have so many anime shows that I keep really close to my heart just because they meant so much to me, especially in high school,
100%. Like I'm right there with you. The only exception to that would be if I had to stop watching or being exposed to one from like today onwards, then I would say maybe stop my exposure to superheroes, because with Sam I'm watching so much more anime. Like she loves it, she's really getting into it, like I'm having a good time watching it with her. So that would probably be my only like.
Oh, that's totally fair to say. No judgment on that at all. I mean, I haven't watched it since a couple weeks now. I've only seen the first 2 episodes, but I just started getting into Cowboy Bebop for the first time, which I know is a damn cardinal sin.
I already told you, bro. That one's a classic. You're gonna have yourself a good time
really
if you're
excited.
not already.
I'm really excited to watch it. I've never seen it, so I'm really excited. Watching the dub, by the way, for anyone wondering. So
I mean, that is one of the ones where it's like, oh, this is a classic dub that's amazing and like stands the test of time. And like on top of that, like speaking on the classics, like not just like classic anime, but like classic games as well, classic movies. Like it doubles back to like I want to expose the younger generation to these things, because man, I'll still go back to this day and fucking get down on some Punch Out. You watched me in the freaking
Oh yeah.
game store take on
Yeah,
Mike
yeah.
Tyson. It didn't go well for me. I ended up beat up, but you know, I did my best.
Yeah. That was funny though. You were close. You were
Ah,
close. You
man,
did it
I
a
almost
couple
won
times.
an NES.
Yeah, I know, dude. That would have been hype as fuck.
Yeah, but
You know,
like,
kind of going back to what you were just saying earlier
lay it on.
about exposing your kids to all these things. I'd imagine you would be so hyped once your kids hit that age where they will understand the Matrix for the first time. Like, I'm sure that's going to be a hype moment for you. You know what I mean?
I mean,
where it's just like, oh my god, my kid's watching the Matrix for the first time. You know, like however old you feel like he's ready to watch it, but you're just like excited for him to watch it for the first time. You know what I mean? I'm sure you'd be hyped about that.
yes, but I'm hoping it's not a thing where it takes like a very particular individual to enjoy the Matrix, because I've tried to expose other friends to the Matrix. Like, I've been over at their house, like, guys, you haven't watched this movie, we have to watch this movie, and then have them like not get that into it or want to do something else or have them fall asleep or whatever. I'm just like, guys, this like to me is like, maybe it's because I watched it when I was younger, and when I watched it when like this was culturally like a mind-blowing film. It's still a mind-blowing film, but it's, you know,
It's a movie that requires your intelligence. It
I agree.
requires your attention, your full attention. If you're not paying attention to everything that people are saying in that film, it's not going to
You won't
really
appreciate it. It
open
won't.
your mind, so to speak, and like make you think about different possibilities. Like, I mean, I remember the first time I watched it, I didn't quite understand it. I mean, I was like 10 the first time I actually sat down and watched it. I watched it with my dad. My dad had to, because I mean, I had never heard of like simulation theory when I was 10. So my
Totally.
dad had to explain it. It's like, what, he's like, you could be in the Matrix right now. Like, that's the point of the movie. And then that made my 10-year-old brain just start
Just
turning
explode,
the cogs. I was just
yeah.
like, what? I was like, what? And I just fell in love with it. You know? I just feel like the thing
What?
that might whoa, yeah.
Whoa.
Dude, Keanu Reeves.
Amazing. Simply just amazing.
The thing that might hurt it today, or even in the future, is that simulation theory is such a popular theory nowadays, and everyone knows about the idea of like, what if we're just in a computer simulation right now? That the magic of that film is kind of taken away. But I feel like people didn't even have that idea until The Matrix. Like, it was that revolutionary of a film. You watch The Matrix and you're like, that's possible? Like,
I can't
we
help
could
but
be in a
to
computer right now?
I
Like, you know what I
can't
mean? Like,
help but to get a feeling though that it's gonna be like, oh hey, it's Naruto from Fortnite, you know, like it's
yeah.
like this movie's like this movie, but that like that movie
Yeah.
that they're talking about came out like 15 years later. It's
Mhm.
like, guys, this is the genesis point. Like, this is what started it all. Like, this is what
Yeah.
you guys don't
Yeah.
understand, and then just be like
Yeah,
a senile
yeah.
old man and be pissed off.
Yeah,
and
then
all
you
that.
become the person that's out of touch. Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know.
It's
I don't
man, yeah. It just comes back to maybe I'm just old. I don't know.
Well, I just think it's like taking age out of it. I just think it's a shame, just because The Matrix truly is one of the greatest films ever made. I mean, objectively. I mean,
100%.
subjectively, you can have your opinion on it, but I think objectively, with what that film did for the film industry as a whole, I mean, the dialogue, the premise, the story, it was just such a unique thing for the time. It's culturally always going to have its stain.
Not
on the
even
industry.
not even just all that, but like the delivery of every line as well, the casting, like just so good. Like, I forget
Lawrence
who plays
Fishburne.
Agent Smith, but
Oh, Hugo Weaving.
yes, thank you. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely
Yeah.
kills it. Like, he really
Yeah.
comes across as like this disgusted like entity that's just like, oh yeah, I need to do my job and take care of you. Like, you
I mean,
fucking disgust me.
I mean, his performance just comes across like
It's the
non-human.
smell.
It's the smell. Yeah. If there is such a thing. Yeah. No, I mean,
Oh,
it's just the
God
way he
damn.
delivers his lines feels like artificial. He doesn't deliver it like a human would deliver it, which helps his performance. Like, it sells you on the idea that you're speaking to a computer and not someone with real living emotion. It's such a like underrated performance. in
My
opinion. It's just
my heart is exploding with just like the love of this movie right now, and like talking to someone that loves the movie just as much as like quantifying that to like
dude.
exponentially.
yeah, dude. I love The
Oh,
Matrix.
I
Both of
know.
my ex-girlfriends couldn't get through it.
No?
Like, I don't get it. I was like,
Oh, man. I'm
well, I
scared
mean,
now.
they
You're
got-
making me scared to show Sam.
They got through it. I will say my first my ex girlfriend, she was like, I don't know if I could get through this, and I was just like, how can you not? Like, you know, I was just like, what do you mean? My last ex-girlfriend got through it, and she was like, it was okay. And I was like, what the fuck you mean it's okay? Like,
What do you mean? Oh, man.
no, she was like, it's okay, and I was like, I love this movie. I was like, you know, maybe I'm looking through it with like rose tinted lenses or whatever the saying is.
No,
but,
man. Like, that movie has been seen by, like, at large as, like, one of the world's greatest movies. Like, and that's just me being like an asshole. It's like, no, you don't understand it. It's okay for you. No, but
no, you're out of touch. Yeah, like that Simpsons meme where it's like maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm
maybe
wrong. No,
it's
the kids that
Maybelline.
are wrong.
Freaking, but on kind of, you talked about like The Matrix being one of the greatest movies of all time, and I wholeheartedly agree. But in the gaming sphere, do you know what was voted? I believe the greatest game of all time.
Ooh, if I had to just guess off the top of my head
Just
what I
go
think the
for it.
greatest game of all time is, I would probably either say the first Super Mario Brothers or Ocarina of Time, just for how much of an impact they had on the industry. But I don't know.
Dude, it was Dark Souls.
Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know you're an avid Bloodborne lover. I can appreciate that. But I agree, man. Like, Dark Souls, the OG, is like one of my favorite games of all time. That game
Funny
just...
that you bring up Dark Souls right now, because guess what is in my PlayStation right now, and I just installed it, is Dark Souls 3.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
So I'm gonna start that, and I'm really excited.
I'm
about it.
excited
I'm
for
also
you.
I'm also gonna stream it. So if any of you guys want to come check that out,
Woo!
it's on my Twitch.
I
It'll
like
be
it.
on
I
my
like
Twitch.
it. That
And
promotion.
I'll probably be terrible at the game because I've played Bloodborne, obviously, but that was a couple years ago. And then the only other reference I have for a game like that recently would be Jedi Fallen Order, which is fantastic. Love that game. So I'm probably going to be terrible at it and get irritated. But I'll have a
dude,
good time.
I think you'll fall in love because, like, I'll lay down the Dark Souls timeline for you. For me, so I played the original Dark Souls. Like, a friend let me borrow it, but I never completed it. And then fast forward a little bit, Dark Souls 2 comes out. I get Dark Souls 2. I fall in love with the game. Never finish it.
Okay.
So fast forwarding, Dark Souls 3, I fall in love, and it's like Aladdin, a whole new world. It's great.
Yeah.
Beat that game multiple times. Think it's sick. Like, the combat is absolutely addicting. You will absolutely love the combat. I didn't even know Demon Souls existed at the time. Bloodborne comes out. I play a little bit of it. I'm just like, oh yeah, this is pretty good. Sekiro comes out. My homie plays it, and he's just like, this game is sick. This is absolutely one of my favorite games. I'm just like, well, if my friend can play it and be halfway decent at it, well, I could do it. I'm a Dark Souls professional. So I play it, I beat it, I had a good time with it. It was very difficult, I will say, but, you know, for a professional such as myself, not a problem. Now, I go back to the original Dark Souls. I play it, I beat it. Absolutely love it. Favorite Dark Souls, favorite game of all time.
G or remastered?
Remastered.
I don't know if there's a difference between the two, but I just
So
thought I'd bring
it's
that up.
just like a more stable frame rate, because at the time, the PS3 and the Xbox 360 versions, they had a very particular problem in a place called Blighttown, where the frameage would absolutely drop to like 15 frames and it'd be terrible.
That's horrendous.
Sometimes I believe even 10, but the remaster takes care of that. I mean, things look a little smoother. It's not that like crazy of an upscale or anything like that, but stable 60. It's on the current gen, and I absolutely loved it. Like, I played through the whole thing, played all the DLC. It was great.
I'm just because I'm curious now that we're on the topic. Have you played Demon Souls on the PS5 or
Yes,
no?
sir.
Have you beaten it?
Yes, absolutely.
What did you think?
I thought it was very, very good. I thought it was charming. Like, so that's kind of the thing I wanted to touch on between both Demon Souls and Dark Souls, the original, is those games may not be the hardest game out of the series you'll ever play, but like the worlds, I should say, are so charming. Like, the characters, like, everything feels so considered.
Love that.
You will fall
I
in
love
love with
that.
the world. Like, you will love
I
the
love.
combat of Dark Souls 3. Absolutely, you will become addicted to the combat of Dark Souls 3.
See, just from hearing that, that makes me even more intrigued because I love games that get you engrossed into the atmosphere and the feel of the world. If you can convince me that the small things around me are real, that's what gets me immersed. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing that I think is beautiful about a game, like even like Resident Evil games. It's like, yeah, is it
100%.
in a small confined space? Sure, but it makes me feel like I'm really in that police station. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it
so
really makes me feel. So you saying that about these games makes me go like, fuck, I think I'm really gonna be into it. Like,
I
I think
think
I'm
you're going to
really
be
gonna like
hooked.
it.
So 1 and 3 follow each other chronologically. They are of the same world.
Okay.
Um, my problem with 3, looking back and like being familiar with the lore and how it goes with Dark Souls games in particular, you will play through the game and not know a goddamn thing what just happened, like as far as story is concerned. It
Mm-hmm.
is either you go out of your way to like look at item descriptions or soul descriptions and like learn the lore for yourself and try to like juxtapose like some kind of idea of what's going on,
Yeah.
or you can do what everyone else does in the world and look at lore videos and become like richly engrossed in everything and how crazy it is.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna kind of go into it blind and just see what I like from there. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll get so into it, I'll just do a bunch of research, like you said, and just get into the lore and everything like that. But I'm looking forward to playing it at least.
Dude,
I mean,
I'm looking forward to how you feel like about like after and while during
yeah.
playing it. Like I want
I'll
you,
save my streams, man. I'll save my streams and
dude.
highlights and stuff like that. Send you some of my highlights and let you know, and just so that way you can
Please
see like
do.
how I'm experiencing the game. Yeah, because I'm sure you would dig it. So
Yeah, like I know you're pretty like hot for Bloodborne. Like I know a lot of people that
oh yeah,
play Bloodborne are.
oh yeah,
And I had a good time. Like I beat the whole thing minus one boss because I didn't do the boss I didn't beat was Moon Presence because I didn't do the
yeah.
thing to trigger that boss fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I was left with like an empty feeling. I was like, I could have just done the stuff and fought that boss because that was the only one I didn't beat. I'm just like, I thought the game was good. Like I'm not in love with it as much as everybody else seems to be.
Sure.
So what is it about Bloodborne that like gets you
Oh,
hard?
for me,
Yeah.
it is the total Van Helsing vibe of that game. I
Okay.
have yet to play a game. I mean, I know there's games out there like that, kind of like that vampire or vampire game. I mean, I just know there's games out there, but it just gave me that. You remember that Hugh Jackman movie, Van Helsing? When we
Yes,
were like
absolutely.
kids? That's what it just reminds me of that. It just reminds me of that game. Like the way everything is, just the whole atmosphere, the whole Transylvania kind of vibe. It's just, I love it. I love it. It was like a vampire werewolf hunting game, and it hooked me.
I can get
Hooked
down
me.
with that. Like I
Once
understood.
again, the atmosphere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like not just to kind of make a small point, but just like you were saying about Dark Souls, it was just the world got me so immersed. I was like, I feel like I'm like, you know what I mean? Like everything felt like it
100%.
mattered.
Yeah, so like my problem did not come from that with Bloodborne. I appreciate the aesthetic as much as everyone else. Like obviously everyone's was like, oh, Bloodborne in 60 FPS. Like I didn't have too much of a problem with that. Like I got through it all the same.
Okay.
But my maybe not necessarily my problem
Yeah.
with Bloodborne, but my appreciation for almost every other Dark Souls is that the game is not afraid to be beautiful. Like in Dark Souls 1 and 2 and I think even at some points 3, like there are very beautiful like set pieces slash places that you'll traverse without even without even an enemy. It's just like there to be beautiful. I didn't get that same feeling while I was playing Bloodborne. Like everything is so grayscale, so cathedral and or church and or what have you. I didn't have a moment where like I just like paused and like sat there and just like took in any of the environment. Like I took in what I did just by walking around and by walking by things, and like everything aesthetically was very cool. It was the very 1500s or whatever you'd call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like cathedrals, churches, and it felt like that rinse and repeat a lot.
Yeah.
I would have appreciated like some very beautiful places of Bloodborne, but it felt like, hey guys, like on development team, how many skulls can we fit in this corner of this church?
Yeah. No, I get you. I feel like, you know what? Jedi Fallen Order, now that I think about it, has moments like that where I can just kind of sit there and just really take in the worlds and just be so into it. But I'm also, the thing that kind of holds me back from just recommending that game to anybody
Fallen Order.
is that yeah, Fallen Order is that I'm a diehard Star Wars fan, like a
Totally.
diehard. And I know you're a Star Wars fan, but not like particularly a diehard. So the reason I've recommended you that game is just because of the style of the game. Like I know you're a Dark Souls fan and you
Word.
like that style. So I know that'd be right up your alley, like the sword play and everything like that would be right up there for you. But the reason I don't recommend it to everybody is because it draws a lot of like dark, deeper lore of Star Wars into that game for you to
Mhm.
kind of understand its plot and its side characters and who are these people and why are they hunting the Jedi. You kind of have to have a frame of reference of the prequels to understand that. And I loved it. I thought Fallen Order was fantastic, but I feel like that game actually does have a couple of those moments for me where I would just be like on a planet like Kashyyyk, for example, and just be like, holy shit, like all these greens are really popping out. And playing through that game again right now, I didn't even know there's a performance mode, so I'm playing it in 60 FPS, and I'm just like,
Oh,
good God,
life
it's
is
amazing.
great now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
Uh,
like the reaction time, like I can dodge, like the frame difference makes it easier to play because I can actually dodge and move out of an enemy's attack faster. You know what I mean? Like it's just those frames, like it's just that big of a difference for me. I don't
yeah.
know, like it just
In
combat's easier.
earnest, like Star Wars was something I need to like go back and reacquaint myself because I watched the original six. Like I
Mhm.
think I talked to you about this before, but like maybe it's just the loops back to the I'm old kind of thing. But whenever I see, I don't remember if this was you or Sam, but whenever I see something, so take the original six Star Wars, and then fast forward many years, and you now have these new Star Wars films.
Yeah, the Disney ones. Yep.
Yeah, like I look at the original Star Wars and like, yes, this is Star Wars. And then I look at the new ones and just like, no, like get away from my like Star Wars. Or same with like, what would it be? What did? Man, I don't recall like another example that was like this.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And I'll even kind of jump in and give a little bit of my 2 cents on that too. I honestly am not particularly a fan of the sequel movies. I don't hate them like a lot of people do. I think the best one, which is really controversial of me to say, was actually The Last Jedi, because I know a lot of people hated that, but the reason why I like that one the most out of the three of the new ones is just because it was willing to have the balls to take some risks. You know what I mean?
Okay,
And it
so
just felt like Rise of Skywalker was just like, let's fucking damage control, clean it up. Like, I don't
on
know.
the
Like,
same spectrum, like that's kind of how, not as much as Star Wars, but that's how I felt with X-Men as well. So I
mhm.
had the original three movies. Disregard X-Men Origins because we don't talk about that film.
No.
Uh, and yeah, the new ones that came out, like I was more interested than I was versus like the Star Wars films, but like it was still like I don't know, like maybe I in my brain I didn't want the original films to be tainted, even though we also don't talk about Last Stand as well. That one was
Well, it's funny you say that because my ex-girlfriend is the one that got me to watch those newer X-Men movies because
really
I kept saying the same thing as you. I was like, I don't know. I just have it in my head of what the X-Men are, and it's the original cast from when I was a kid, you know? So
yeah.
she was like, you've got to watch First Class and you've got to watch Days of Future Past. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'll watch them. And I gotta say, man, pleasantly surprised. They're probably my two favorite X-Men movies. First Class and Days of
All
Future
right,
Past.
yeah.
They're really good. They're really good, and I promise you, bro, I'd be honestly shocked if you didn't at least like them.
I,
You know?
I'm I that's kind of the thing I appreciate about myself. Especially as of lately, I always find something valuable to kind of draw from whatever like I'm consuming. So whether that's a game, or movies, or anime, or what have you.
Hmm.
Even if I hate it, like I'm not saying I will, but even if I hate it, like I kind of like how I've come to understand like why I've hated it. Like the fact that I am more critical, but it also ruins my experience for like just taking something at surface level, like just watching a movie just for the sake of watching a movie. Like it makes me more critical
Yeah.
of everything.
And you know what? I will say this about myself too, is that if you did, for example, like, and this goes for anybody in general, but if I recommend something to someone and they do come back and they're like, I didn't like it, I actually like that more because I actually have some other perspective on it, and I can sit there and talk about it, be like, oh, why didn't you like it? What's your view on it? Like that's more fascinating to me. You know what I mean?
Totally, yeah.
Like we can bounce ideas off each other, and they're not exactly aligned, but like we can kind of shed more light on that perspective, and it's like, oh, I never looked at it that way. You know what I mean? Like,
so I have like this weird thing when it comes to like how I feel about anything, where I can tell if I don't like something like on my first watch, but I can't pinpoint why. Like it takes like a second or a third watch to like really like, oh, this is why I hate this thing. I don't know.
yeah.
I'm just like really bad at focusing on initial impressions, like why exactly this thing makes me feel the way I do.
Yeah, I mean, a prime example of that for me that just kind of gave me like mixed feelings when I went into it so hyped would be like those newer Star Wars movies. Like walking out of the theater, I was like, I don't know how I feel. Like that was the first time.
That's gotta be
ever
hard
felt
as a Star Wars fan, because
so
like
hard.
yeah,
So hard.
like you have your whole life of like, dude, these are like the greatest movies or like what have you, and then
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah,
it like
absolutely.
part of it, like I talk a lot about hype, whether that's like in retrospectives or just talking to people, but like hype can absolutely kill something for you. It can kill a game experience, it can kill movies, and I think that's a lot of what, like, your expectations were so grandiose for like these movies that yeah, the letdown just felt that much worse.
The Rise of Skywalker, I knew the minute I got done watching it, I was like, I didn't like it. The Last Jedi, I remember walking out and I was like, I think I need to see it again. And I watched it a couple times, and I remember loving it back then. I don't love it now, but I don't hate it. I think it's good. I do think it's good. I just think that's one of those weird movies where there was like, there's for every moment that I was like, holy shit, that was cool, it was like there was another scene where I was like, that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then it was like another scene where I was like, that is so cool. And then I was like, that was the dumbest thing you know what I mean? So like I walked out of the movie going like, what did I just watch? But then when I really think back to that movie, I'm like, you know what? There's two scenes in that movie particularly that just made me love it. And that's the throne room scene, which, you know, for all intents and purposes, you could say what you want about what that did with the plot, but I still think the way it was directed, the way it was shot, the action sequences, awesome. When Rey and Kylo are fighting all those knights in that room, awesome. And then the scene with Luke, where he just projects himself onto the other planet, I still think that's just such a powerful, awesome moment. So those moments make up the film for me. But there are so many moments in that movie where I was just like, this is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. Like Leia just like floating through space and she pulls herself to the ship. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like,
So
I literally said what in the theater the first time I saw that. I was like, what is happening? Like,
without a doubt, we have so much more to talk about, but I'm gonna make sure I don't let you escape that easy, my friend.
yeah.
I already asked you one question between anime
I already know
and
what
heroes. Now, the real tough shit.
Yeah.
Spider-Man or Batman?
Which one would I so give up right now? Like I've seen them, but I just can't watch anything else on them, or I just go my whole life.
We're
from
doing both.
When I'm born.
I think that's the only way to approach it. So from here henceforth, you gotta give up one. That's where we'll start.
From here henceforth, I got to give up. Okay. I'd give up. Oh man. Oh man. I would probably give up Spider-Man, I think.
I would
think-
say I would have to give up Batman. Because
That's interesting. Okay.
Man, I need to see No Way Home, bro.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'm looking at it like I was thinking like I've seen No Way Home at this point.
No, from
Like,
today on.
Oh, fuck, Brad. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Well, I want to see that shit. I want to see that Robert Pattinson fucking Batman movie.
I
dude.
did
Like-
too. I'm interested. I'm definitely curious. And we could talk more on that in a second.
Man, you're the worst.
Damn right.
Oh man.
I'm asking the hard questions, bro. They need to be asked.
Well, the reason why I think fuck. With that being said, I think I still would say Spider-Man, just because I feel like there's still so much more interesting things you can do with Batman. Not that you can't with Spider-Man on film, and I'm just kind of looking at it from a film perspective now, because that's really how I digest my superhero stuff these days, besides the video games, which we can get into the Batman games and Spider-Man
Totally,
games in a
and I
little
know
bit,
we will.
But uh, yeah, I just think I would still say Spider-Man just because like I've digested so much more of Spider-Man. I didn't really become a huge Batman fan until I was older. And I think that's just because of how much darker Batman is as a superhero
Okay.
and how much more of an adult themed hero he is, if that makes any sense. Plus, I mean, I don't know. Batman is just I mean, the Dark Knight is one of the greatest films of all time. I mean, I think it's up there with The Matrix, particularly the one with Heath Ledger. I mean, it's such a good film. I mean, I don't know, and like the direction that they're kind of going with this new I think I'm more interested. If I really had a gun to my head and someone was like No Way Home or the Batman movie, I would probably say I'd go see the Batman movie over the new Spider-Man one, only because I am so intrigued with the idea that they're going to approach this movie as a real, true detective film, with
Okay.
Riddler being the bad guy. And I like the idea that Riddler is like a serial killer and Batman is trying to trace all the murders that he leaves behind at the crime scenes back to him. And I really think that's fascinating.
You're
I'm
getting me
really
more
looking forward
excited
to
for this movie than I already was. But
Oh, dude, I'm so excited. I'm so
so
excited.
another reason why I said Batman is I also want to watch the new Spider-Verse movie as well.
I
Whenever
did
that
see
happens.
the trailer for that as well, and I actually forgot about that. Fuck.
Whenever
Rad.
that happens, because man, I loved the first Spider-Verse movie so much.
Thought it was great. Thought it
Yeah,
was
like
fantastic.
I I appreciate the tackling of like bringing Miles Morales into like a more mainstream kind of light, putting the focus on him because everything up until this point has been Peter Parker, Peter Parker, Peter Parker. Say that 5 times
Yes.
fast.
Yes, I agree.
Um,
I think it's really good. Yeah.
So now
I have
with
a
this,
question for you, but go ahead. I'll wait.
so
Go
now
ahead.
with this new movie, it looks like it's potentially has some focus on Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, which I'm more than excited
Yeah.
about. I needed to see this man in the spotlight, brother, because, dude,
Yeah.
like something about Miguel, like I think his story is so interesting. Like from point one, where he's working at Alchemex, they have all their employees like addicted to this fucking high price drug or whatever that only they can distribute, and that's how they keep their scientists working there. Like that as a
Yeah.
premise is good enough for a movie by itself. Like you can tell I'm getting a little bit rowdy right now, but like how we haven't
I
had
agree.
anything up
No, you're
until
good.
this point, like is it's just mind blowing to me. Like
Oh no, I completely agree. And if you want to keep rambling about it, I'm down
no,
to listen because I love it.
I'm ready for your question.
No, so well, the thing I noticed is that it's part one, so that's fascinating. I'm
Part
like,
one.
it's gonna because I think yeah, that's what the Spider-Verse movie, the new one. It's part one.
Oh, it's gonna be 2 parts.
It's gonna be a two-part film, which is
Really?
really interesting. I wonder, like, that just tells me that something. If it's gonna be a two-part film, it
gonna be a big
obviously is
scale.
gonna have to. Yeah, it's gonna be a huge scale, and I just don't know how big of a scale. But like, I'm really looking forward to it. And then the question I was going to ask you is because I kind of go back and forth on this. Do you like PS4 Marvel Spider-Man's Miles Morales more, or do you like Spider-Verse Miles Morales more?
I like Spider-Verse more.
I completely agree. Thank you. Like
So,
I thought the Spider-Verse one was a lot better.
and you're gonna hear me talk on when the retrospective does drop, and it like I'm working on it as much as I can when I can.
Mhm.
But I kind of knew where the game was going minute one, because you have Miles in the game, then you also have Peter in the game. Peter
Yeah.
does not die, spoiler.
Mhm.
So you know it's going to be a game about identity and finding that identity and living in the shadow of a Spider-Man. Like it's quite obvious. Like once you have those two pieces, you know where the game is gonna go.
Right.
Miles, what I will say about both game and movie is that they characterize Miles with a lot of personality, and I definitely love that. He's not
Mhm.
just I don't know. He comes across as having a life greater than being Spider-Man. Like, he's interested in music. He like they characterize him as like loving video games or whatever. Like
Mhm.
he loves the idea of being a hero. Like his dad's a cop, looks up to Spider-Man. You kind of know what, like, even from the very first moments, and I talk about this in the retrospective as well, even in the very first moments of the title screen,
Yeah.
In the first game with Peter Parker, you have him sitting high above, on the side of a building, apart from society, with this like grandiose orchestral superhero-like music. But with Miles, the difference with Miles, and you know this game is going to be about community, is that he is entangled and engrossed in community, and his very first moments within that title piece is him on a subway packed with people, getting out and going into the street, interacting with people. You know it's a game about community. There's two very different things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say I haven't played Spider-Man Miles Morales yet. I do need to get around to playing it, but I have played the PS4 Spider-Man game.
Something I was wondering was, throughout the whole process, is why the game felt like DLC. Like, it's still like 15 hours long, but like a question that was in my mind through playing it was just like, why does this game feel like DLC? Why does this game feel like DLC? And I thought on it, and I was kind of left with a conclusion of, because it's so samey, I think the approach is very smart to use a different Spider-Man to keep things the same, but having things be the same apart from your Venom ability, your bioelectricity, and invisibility. That's what's going to leave the game feeling like DLC. I think you'll still enjoy the game, and I think those games in particular are great at plucking at heartstrings. Like, they know how to do very emotional storytelling and writing, and I think that's what they have over the Batman games, because when you play the Batman games, and I love the Batman games, and I know you love the Batman games,
So good.
they are so good, but they don't leave you feeling like you're gonna cry.
True. That's very true. I'm trying to, just you talking about that, I'm actually trying to think if there were emotional moments like that for me.
I don't recall. I think there are very good moments, but I don't think there are any that left me wondering why this is happening and left me with a tear rolling down my eyes.
Yeah, I think there's no moment where it's just like, it made me want to cry, but it made me. I think there were moments, especially in Arkham Knight, that made me go like, okay, Batman is more than just this one-dimensional thing. Especially like how he treated, like, not to go on a huge. I'm about to go on a fucking huge.
Go, dude! Please fire off, pop off, King.
Just to kind of, excuse me, just to kind of just go on about, like, I guess emotional beats in those games. They're subtle. I feel like Spider-Man's a little more on the nose, and you are a little more understanding, because of like what is supposed to be an emotional moment for you as the audience. With Batman, it's a lot more subtle. You have to really think about the scene and understand why Batman is the way he is, because you could just interpret a lot of the things that Bruce does throughout those games as like, damn, Bruce is just a fucking asshole. But then when you
locking up Robin.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I was like, I feel like those moments are the moments that are like subtle emotion, where it's like you understand why he is so protective over Tim, and it's because of the tragedy of Jason Todd
100%.
and all of that. So it didn't make me want to cry. So I totally agree with you on that. But it made me just have such a deeper appreciation for the character of Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean? Because he's already a tragic hero as it is. So for him to have another tragic thing in his life happen to him, which is losing,
he wants to do anything at all costs to prevent that.
Right, and he looks at it like, no, you're not doing shit, Tim. You're staying here, kind of thing.
You're grounded, young man.
Right, and he's like, Bruce, I can be out there, like, you know what I mean?
You can't ground me because I quit.
Right. But then he's just like, Barbara's in a wheelchair because I had her out there. Like, he's just looking at it like, I would rather be me that's out there risking his life than putting you kids out there. And I've already lost one kid and the other one is paralyzed. So
I definitely need to play Arkham Knight again, yo. Like, every time I talk to you.
You see what I'm saying, though? Like, that's
100%.
I feel like when you really peel it back, there is a lot of emotional depth to the Batman games, but I just feel like they don't really, like, there's no moment where Bruce is crying. You know what I mean? There's no moment where it's like,
this is heart-wrenching.
Exactly. And if it is, it always feels like it's like they pull the rug from under you, especially with the Scarecrow shit, because that's the only time where you're like, holy shit, did they just fucking do that? And then you're like, it was the poison gas. It didn't fucking happen. You know what I mean? You're like, it didn't happen. So then the moment doesn't feel genuine anymore.
I already know we're gonna get greasy on these games and the Spider-Man ones as well, but you know, I will 100% always bring it back and shout out this channel, this dude, Micah Edmonds, the guy who I showed you the retrospective of, like, he is the person that got me started and like feeling like I need to like talk about, you know, blank game in this way. Like, he, like, 100% credit that he's like the person that expanded my mind and like had me have a want to like pursue content like this, because I've showed you that retrospective. I've watched / listened to that retrospective like 100 times over, and it's still like I still find something valuable from it to this day. And I wanted to bring that up because like you and I have very particular feelings about these games, and kind of kicking things off from Asylum, like I've told you before, I like the game. It feels unapologetically Batman, but in a very vanilla way.
Yes.
Like it's so Batman, but like from the point of view that, like, one of my favorite lines from, I believe it was that game, is like when he's talking to Gordon, and he's like, you know it's a trap, and Batman's like, of course it is.
Yeah.
That is so, like, that screams Batman to me. I don't know what it is about it, but...
And I know you and I have talked about this, of like, we kind of align with that retrospective where I believe we do, where we think Arkham Knight is the best, right?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, so yeah, I think Arkham Knight is the best one. However, after what we were talking about, I forget how long ago now, but
I believe you came, you came to me with like, I have new feelings towards City.
I do have new feelings towards City, and I even have new feelings towards Asylum since the last time you and I talked, and I'll explain. So, I don't think, because I feel like Arkham Asylum is dated. You and I were basically touching upon the idea where it's like Asylum feels like the one where it's like at the time it was a phenomenal game, but the City and particularly Knight perfected that formula so much that it's like, is it even worth going back and playing Asylum? And I think just kind of going back, you know, bringing it a little more full circle with what I was talking about earlier with like what I like about my video games is Asylum had so much atmosphere.
100%.
So if you are like, let's say, just for an example, if you're a type of person that has like seen maybe a Batman movie but doesn't know too much about like the deeper cuts of Batman, I would still recommend you play Arkham Asylum first, and then just literally play from Asylum to City to Night. I would say still do that.
So
just
atmospherically,
because I feel like you get more engrossed into it, and by the time you get into City, you're like, I'm already familiar with this Batman. I'm familiar with these villains. I've listened to all the tapes from Asylum. You know what I mean? Like you get more of an understanding of that world. Yeah.
So, touching on kind of like the atmosphere of the game, it is definitely, in my opinion, the most dark and the most gritty, and that's like aided by the prison aesthetic. But when I think of that game, like I think of the underground segments where like you're kind of going through the falling rubble of like what's like underground. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where like you can't grapple on stuff because like your grapple will give way.
Yeah. You're talking about like the aqueducts and the sewer area.
Yeah, exactly, like that. For some reason in particular, I think of that, and I think of when Ivy's plants are out. Like it just man, like that's what I think of when I think of that game. I do think, and this falls in line with the retrospective, I think it is the most like motivated naturally the enemies ever are, because you know, as a Batman fan, Batman put all of them in there, essentially. Yes. So of course they want to like fuck up his day because he's there, and why wouldn't they? He's Batman. So like that makes the characters feel like the most motivated naturally, but they don't build upon it much more than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that that's what you think when you see that. When you think of that game, that you think of the Poison Ivy aspects, because I honestly forgot that was in the game until you brought it up. The first thing I think of, is
Bane?
I don't know why. No, I don't think of the villains. The first thing I think of when I think of Asylum is there's a lot of backtracking, but there's a lot of moments where it just feels like you're running around the map, and there's like, it's just the space in between the spaces, if that makes sense. Like it's the running to the next activity of bad guys, or running.
Yeah.
It's, you know what I mean? Like I know there's a lot of backtracking, and there's a lot of like, where the fuck am I supposed to go?
It comes across as like very Metroidvania.
That might just be me going to get the Riddler trophies. So, I'm just
Uh,
running around the whole island. But like, I have such a fond memory of just running around this island that felt lifeless and dead in some ways, and it gave me this eerie feeling, especially when you backtrack to the morgue, where
oh
like
yeah.
Scarecrow would like gas you. I mean, some of those moments are still terrifying when you play through them. Like there's just something about like city and night feel really full and feel really alive, and it feels like when you fly around everywhere, they're like, holy shit, there's a guy down there just beating the crap out of a civilian. I can go help him, or I can go over here. Like, there's so many things you can do. Asylum in particular felt like it just felt empty. I don't know, but it not in a bad way for me. It felt empty in an eerie way. Does that
So
make sense?
yeah, something, although like something feels wrong when the majority of your travel as Batman is by running around. Like it just
That is
feels like
true.
misplaced. Like it feels like it
That's
shouldn't
true.
be happening. Like it
That's
feels like it
that's true.
should like jump cut to him somewhere else or something. I don't know.
No, 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 no. I completely agree. I completely agree. Like, I'm not saying that any of the criticisms against Asylum aren't justified. I'm just saying, for me specifically, maybe it is nostalgia talking, but just even when I revisit that game, there's just something about it. I don't know. It's just like it's like
Even
a diamond in the rough kind of thing, where like I don't know how the developers Rocksteady achieved it, but they just achieved something with that game's tone and atmosphere that it just made Batman feel like almost a borderline horror game, and it was just so weird
okay.
for me. But I love that. I love horror games. So to me, that's what makes it still worthy of a game to play. Not my favorite though.
So
Obviously, like
without a doubt,
same
like
levels.
I don't want anyone listening or even you, even though I know I like that game, to get it
Mhm.
twisted. That like I do have like a love for Asylum, especially
Oh,
because like
and I know you do. Yeah.
I played it back in the day. Like I didn't play it like recently for the first time. Like I played it around when it came out, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, I have never seen Batman like this before. This is amazing. Like this
Yeah.
is like a part of me. I absolutely adored that game. And then when
Yeah.
City came out, I actually didn't play through City all the way through until like somewhat recently. Like I think it was just like the games coming out at the time kind of thing. And
Hmm.
like Batman took a back seat, and then yeah, like I just put it down for way too long, and then finally, not all that long ago, picked it back up. I'm gonna finish this game, finish the game. I thought it was pretty good, but a lot of it comes back to like how, like, once again the retrospective. I hate to be a broken record, but like, it's very true that like how much you give a shit about this game comes from your external Batman knowledge.
Yeah. And I think the reason why I put Night over Asylum is because Night does have those moments. It's not in a game that's completely enriched in eeriness, but there's enough of that element in the game that makes me go like, "Oh yeah, this is the pinnacle Batman game like ever." Like, especially like the things with Man Bat, and like when you go
Oh,
to
I love the Man Bat, dude. I
you know
love.
exactly what I'm talking like what I'm getting into. And same thing with Pig, where you like try to find all those bodies, and like there's
Yes,
something
dude.
wrong with the bodies, and like he's a serial killer that's really twisted, and you're like, what? Like, I love those darker tones of Batman. It makes it feel
100%.
more gritty and eerie, and that's what makes Night like
What
above
is
Asylum for me.
what is
Is
Man Bat's name?
I
I,
forget, but he was trying to cure being deaf, right? Deafness.
something
Like,
like that, and he ended up like killing his wife or something like that.
he ended up mutating, which was another eerie thing, is because you go
Oh
into the
man,
lab and the lab is ripped apart, and the whole scene is being repeated on the television screen of him fucking killing his wife.
dude,
Like, I'm
absolutely
like, I
amazing.
totally understand why this game is rated M now. You know what I mean? None of the other ones are rated M, but this one is, and I'm like, I get it. Like, this game is dark. Like,
So, and something else I really liked about Night, and particularly liked about the first Spider-Man game, is like gaining slash unlocking the areas. It's not as prominent in the first Spider-Man game, but like you have to do like the Assassin's Creed, like stand on the tower, fix the thing, so you can get like
yeah,
expand your map. I
yep.
like that. That was not prevalent in Spider-Man Miles Morales. You just had the whole map. There was no sense of progression, and I think that is like another
You're talking
thing.
about the police towers, right? In the
Yes,
original game? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
with Miles, you just have them, and I understand why, because like it would be kind of lame to set up the same gimmick But something about like earning your areas, unlocking your areas feels like mandatory for these kinds of games.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to play it. I haven't gotten around to playing it. Once again, it's the same thing for me with that game as like Resident Evil 8, where I just like is it better to just wait until I get that PS5 and play it then?
Hard to say, brother.
I'm not particularly sure, but
I mean, you could play RE8 on PC.
Yeah, that's true. I could.
I'm not sure how beefy your PC is though.
I have a 1080 graphics card, so I could probably do it. I have all the Resident. This is just a nerd talking right now, but I have all the Resident Evil games like physically, so it'd be weird. It'd be weird for me to just not get the 8th one physically, but maybe I'll just do that. I mean, I don't know.
I get it. I don't know. There's definitely like a different feeling about having a physical copy. Like I've definitely transitioned. Like almost every game I get now is digitally, and that's because like you can't break a copy of a game digitally. You can't scratch it up or whatever. But like I am a collector. Like I collect all kinds of different things. Like I collect Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering cards, Beyblades, what have you, so on and so forth. And but somewhere in my head, like that kind of flip-flopped for games.
What do you mean?
Like I used to like support like, oh no, I want all my games physically. Now it's just like, oh yeah, I just have everything digitally. Like I'm not sure when that changed exactly.
Yeah, I don't know when that changed for me either, because like I think the only reason I'm like so adamant about keeping the Resident Evil games on like a physical copy kind of sense of collecting it, I guess you could say, that was a weird way of me putting it, but is because I've started doing that so long ago, but like any other game I pretty much just get digitally today, like I can't even remember the last time I went and bought a game. Oh no, that's not true. I actually bought Mario Golf physically. But that was on a whim.
That's funny.
So I was just like at Target and I was just like, oh yeah, Mario Golf. I was like, fuck it, I'll buy it, and then so that's the last game I got physically. But I mean, before that, it'd probably been a couple of years since I got in a game physically. I mean, everything is digitally for me now.
So my problem with like Nintendo games specifically is like there's no reason not to buy them digitally.
Yeah.
Like they're never cheaper, really. They always stay the same price, so I'm just like, well, there might be a chance that I can get this on sale on the Nintendo eShop. Right. So why would I buy it physically? I don't know. But that kind of also betrays my love for things like GameStop. Like I still have like a deep-seated love of like OG GameStop.
Oh, I mean, it's funny you bring that up, because I think I was talking to my roommate, Henley, about this, which you've met him.
Yeah.
We were talking about, like, remember the days of, like, just standing in line for a midnight release? Did you ever do that?
A couple times. Not too much.
I did it a few times. I didn't do it, like, all the time, but it's just so different. Like, you don't need to do that now. You just pre-order the game digitally, and it'll be installed by the time you get home.
Wait for the counter to...
I mean, we were just talking about, like, there was something cool about, like, those few times I did do that, where I was just, like, standing in line at the midnight release for a game, and I just talk to the people that are there buying the game too, and you just kind of meet new people that are interested in the same thing. Like I did that with Uncharted 4.
Oh man.
I did it with Fallout 4. I mean, I don't do it. No one does it anymore, at least as far as I know. Like no one I know does it anymore. I'm sure people do, but
yeah, I mean, there just doesn't feel like enough of a reason to actually go and do it.
Right.
Yeah, that in particular just brings me back to like, for instance, like Blockbuster, man. Something about that feeling of going in the Blockbuster, looking at the checkered floor or whatever, freaking.
Oh my god.
You got your movie and/or game. You got some freaking Mike and Ike's or like Dots or whatever.
I can smell the popcorn.
Oh, yeah, big nostalgia boners, dude.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I remember, dude. I have vivid memories of going in there and being like, "Can I rent a game? Can I rent a game, please?" Like literally just.
I know.
Like, and that's how I would play games. There was no trailers for games. Dude, like, you would just go in there and you look at the cover of the game and you'd be like, that looks fun, and then you'd play it and you realize it's like a timeless classic and you're like, yeah, I totally remember. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
either this is great or this is terrible.
and I've played a lot of terrible games when I was a kid.
Dude.
But yeah, it's so crazy today.
It always boils down to like different times. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you got a game as a kid, like you fucking cherished that game. Like you played it nonstop. Like whenever the time would come that you would get a new game would be around your birthday or like Christmas or some joint like that.
Yeah.
You know, every so often, you know, your parents may hook you up. It's like, oh yeah, the game's not that expensive, or we have like a couple extra bucks, you can get a new game, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe it's my kids, maybe it's kids in general, but like it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel like that same appreciation for the game. And maybe it's just because my child has ADHD. I don't know. But when yeah, like I remember specifically, and speaking on playing Pokemon, like that was one of the things I talked about playing. You know, I played Pokemon Pearl and Platinum back in the day on my original DS Lite. And dude, just playing the ever living fuck out of those games. And like I had a Naruto game for my DS that I played a shit ton. And like I remember specifically my mom telling me, "Is like, you're still not asleep?" I'm just like, nope.
Yeah, no, I remember those nights too. You know what I think it is, dude? I think honestly, video games are such a profitable hobby today that it's just there's such an oversaturation of it. Like it's just the hobby itself is just there's so many games to play. There's so much variety, and then within those games, there's so much shit you can buy within that one game. Like you know what I mean? Like when we were kids, it's like.
You have games, you play games. But,
right. I mean, fuck. There's games. There's probably over 20 games I can list right now that you can play for free. So, you know what I mean? Like it's just oversaturated. So now today it's like watching television shows. Television shows are now oversaturated. You have to pick out what shows you want to watch. You're not going to watch all of them. There's way too many of them. It's the same thing with video games, pretty much. You're just like, okay, these are the games I'm going to buy this year because these are the ones that I'm fascinated in, even though I know there's like 15 games coming out this holiday season. You know what I mean?
Speaking on the fascination of games, what are you like looking forward to, or maybe killing something in the backlog? Like what's on your playlist?
Well, as far as new games go, I'm actually really looking forward to that Halo Infinite. I've heard good things about it, and
okay.
Halo's a franchise I've played since I was a kid. So, and I've heard really good things about the new Halo game, and
okay.
I'd probably eventually pick that one up. But as far as just games in general, what have I been playing? I think I've...
Yeah, what have you been playing? What do you want to play? What are you looking forward to? What are you looking to kill on the
Dark
backlog?
Souls 3, like I said, I just popped that in. I'm probably going to get through Dark Souls 3.
I hope you fall in love. I really hope you do.
I just played through GTA 3 and GTA Vice City.
Word, that's right. I forgot about those.
I just started San Andreas. I'm not very far in San Andreas, but I played through Vice City. Oh god, I love those games too. That once again, I mean, it's probably my age speaking, but like, there's just something about those old games that I'm just like, oh, I remember playing this the first time, and I had a blast playing them. I really did. I know there's a lot of controversy around that too, just because people are saying they're having performance issues and whatnot. And I've had a couple issues, but only with Vice City. I didn't have any issues with 3. I had a couple issues with Vice City, but nothing to the point where I was like, I just cannot even play this game. Like, I had a great time with them, and yeah. So that, other than that, I really been thinking about revisiting Arkham Knight again.
Same.
And then, dude, I was playing Ultimate Alliance, the first one with my brothers over Thanksgiving. Dude. Because, that's 4-player.
Totally.
So I was like, I'll bring Ultimate Alliance, we'll play that. And we played that game for like 4 hours straight. And my younger brother, my middle brother, he is 19. Excuse me. And my youngest brother is 16. So
wow.
they'd never played those games. They never even heard of them. So we started playing Ultimate Alliance, and my 19-year-old brother and my 16-year-old brother were both like, this game is awesome. I was like, yeah, I know. I was like, that's why I brought it. I was like, I played this when I was a kid.
Dude, oh, and man.
They played it with me for hours. They were like, this is so cool. They were like, I didn't know. Like, they're like, you can be any Marvel hero? And I was like, yeah. I was like, you literally choose anybody.
Bro, there's like something so heartwarming about that.
Yeah, like brought me and my brothers closer together. And it was
Oh
like a
man.
really fun 3-player, 4-player game. Like that was probably the funnest I've had with a video game in a long time. Was playing that with my brothers. That was
Yes,
really fun.
something in particular I remember getting down with the family with was Call of Duty World at War, Nazi Zombies, brother. We played that shit like it almost feels like weirdly like every Christmas. Like I
Yeah,
bust out the
dude.
PS3 or my oldest brother bust out the 360 and just pop that shit in and like that game
Oh, dude,
is like something special.
you're it's like rubbing the genie out of the bottle right now with my nostalgia, dude. Like I remember my cousin Anthony, he had a small TV, like a small TV, and we would just plug it in the wall and it would just sit on the ground. And he's like, "I've got this game." And I was like, "What is it?" And he's like, "It's called the World at War." And I was like, "Oh, I played Modern Warfare." And I was like, "I'm down to play this one." And we did split screen on this tiny TV, and we were just laying on our stomachs. I must have been like, I think I was 11 when that game came out, and we were just laying there playing it all night, all night. We played it all night, and it was just the
Absolutely
first
great.
map. It was just Nocturne and Toten, and it's like crazy to think what zombies has become today. You know what I mean? But I'm like, I remember,
Just the
that
simplest
is my
little like
age.
shit house of a map.
Yeah, that is my age showing where it's like back in my day there was 3 goddamn rooms and you couldn't leave the fucking building. Like you know what I
Oh
mean? Like
man, there was no teleporters, no perks.
there's no pack a punch. Yeah,
Dude,
exactly.
it's
Like
like a fucking
oh,
Smash. It's like, oh, if you're a real Smash player, 1v1 me on Final Destination. Back in the day.
yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, like that. Like, for some reason, like that map, even though it's like so simple, it's
Yeah.
just like stuck in my
It's
brain as being like one of my
Dude, once
favorite
again,
maps.
it's eerie, it's atmospheric, particularly the one on World at War. I mean, I know they've remastered Nocturne Totem, but like
For some reason, it's just not the same.
it's not the same. The music, the like the because a lot of a thing I've grown to appreciate is the soundtracks for video games. A lot of that
Word.
has to do with the adding to the atmosphere. And I mean, that World at War soundtrack as a whole, when you booted that game up, when you're sitting in the main menu, I mean, do you remember the music that's in the background, like of the main menu of World at War? If you don't, after this podcast, you should go and listen to it just for like a
The
split
piano
second.
joint? Or.
No, no, just it's just like a woman like singing in the background, but it's like really ambient and eerie sound. Like it's
Damn,
just sitting at
okay.
the main menu. It's so eerie, and it adds to like just this terrifying like atmosphere. Like I don't know, there was World at War just had such a horror aspect on World War II, which was cool. It made it seem like war was scary, which was a good thing to me because it should be.
Yeah,
But like
absolutely.
that atmosphere was added to the zombies mode on World at War. So when you would, the music and that, and just like it was a lot darker. Like you didn't know where you were gonna go. You didn't know if you could leave the building, and just holding out when you get overwhelmed was I don't know. It was just a little bit different. It's a little more cartoony today. A
One
little
second,
more
I need
arcadey.
to check my burners real quick and see if they're acting weird. Alright, I think we're good.
For sure.
There was some
What
serious
what'd you have to go check
clicking.
on?
So the burners for the stovetop, they were like clicking, like they were trying to like ignite or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So I had to fiddle around with those a little bit. But damn, what the fuck were we talking about?
Zombies.
Zombies? Oh man, yeah. I loved World of War. Like I have such fond memories of World of War, and as well as Black Ops is like too.
Black Ops for me as well, yeah. Especially Kino in particular. I remember that was one of the first games I ever got DLC for. Was actually Black Ops.
Really, damn. I don't even remember the first game I got DLC for, to be quite honest.
And I think it was that because the only reason I remember that is because I was like, everyone was telling me, they were like, there's maps out. And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, there's new zombie maps. And I was like, what do you mean? I don't see them on here. And they're like, you have to buy them. And I was like,
It probably
what?
was Call of Duty, like
I,
one
I,
of the.
I'm telling you, man, I didn't understand it. I was like, what's DLC? And they're
Well,
like, downloadable content. Like, I didn't understand it. I was like, wait, I can add on to my game? They're like, yeah. And I was like, that is so weird. Like, it
for
was
a
such a
small loan
weird.
of $1 million.
And little did I know that was going to be the
The future.
downfall of
Oh
the
my god.
like fucking loot boxes and shit. Yeah.
Oh man, it's.
Oh, man. Yeah. No, but I remember that vividly. That's it. I remember getting, and then you get that new zombies map, and you're like, this is so cool, and yeah,
Dude, as a
yeah.
fighting game player, like DLC is like the devil in a way.
Yeah, I mean, dude, speaking of fighting games, I have nostalgic memories of Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks,
I played
and
so much of Deception.
Deception was good too, dude. Shaolin Monks was that one where it was like almost like a side-scrolling beat 'em up, kind of. It
I
wasn't
don't remember that
side-scrolling,
one too much.
but you played as Kung Lao and Liu Kang,
Okay.
and it was two-player co-op, and you like there was a storyline where you fought side by side with each other, and
What
it
the
was
hell?
way cool. Plus,
Okay.
there was still like a fighting mode thing in it too, where like like the classic Mortal Kombat, but the story was like a beat 'em up. It was crazy. Like,
Yeah, I loved in Deception like the Tetris combat and the chess combat.
yeah,
That like to me that was so sick, and I think that's one of the problems like current day fighting games have is that they don't have like enough content outside of playing their game one versus one online or
I
with someone
I
next to you.
I think with the thing with the newer Mortal Kombat's because I played 9 and 10. I haven't played 11 yet. I've heard good things about it. I want to play it, but playing 9 and 10 is that they feel great. They have dialed in the fighting styles on those games. And I can see why there's like a competitive scene with them, but they don't necessarily have the variety, kind of like what you were just saying about like there's
What
not
keeps
enough.
you there outside of
Right.
fighting someone?
Right. Is the fighting good enough to make me want to keep coming back? I mean, I'll probably keep coming back for like the occasional fight. I'm not, and this is coming from someone who is not as into fighting games. I know you are a huge fighting game guy. So, like for me, it's like I'll come back and play it every once in a while, or I'll play it for the story, but there's nothing that really entices me enough to come back and play it unless I want to get into it competitively, like you do.
So one, I think Mortal Kombat 11 is pretty fun. I play it very rarely, but like I do this
Mhm.
thing where like I spin a wheel with like random fighting games on it. Sometimes that comes up, and I do have a fun time when I go back. But NRS games in particular, so like Mortal Kombat, and even to a degree Injustice,
Yeah.
um, they're just not necessarily the types of games that I like. I There are rumors in the rumor mill of an Injustice 3, and if an Injustice 3 comes around, I'm gonna play the shit out of that because I do I love superheroes. I love DC Universe.
Me too. Yeah.
Um,
And I liked Injustice 1. I played a little bit of 2.
yeah, like I like that the game storyline is like actually really good. Like NRS is famous for like really good storylines. That's 100% what I'll give them. Maybe not the type of fighting game that I like the most, but still pretty good in their own right. So if one does come around, I'm just like super looking forward to it, super down for it. But I figured I would tell you a little bit of what got me started on my fighting game adventure.
Yeah, go for it.
So I am primarily a Dragon Ball Fighters player. Like I still love that game to this day. Like I think that game is absolutely sick. One of my favorite fighting games.
Hmm.
Obviously it helps I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan. Like since I knew what Dragon Ball was.
Yeah.
And I was playing through the story mode and I was let's playing it, and one of my homies from a place I used to work with was talking that shit. And he's
Yeah.
just like, dude, you don't know how to do combos. Like all you're doing is mashing auto combo in this game. Like you're kind of trash, kid. I'm just like, damn word. Like,
Yeah.
but like me
Those
being
fucking
me,
little fire and little baby Brad.
I was pushing up the glasses and be like, I'll have
Yeah.
you know, this was recorded 2 months ago. But and I think that was actually like my response or something like that or something close. And
What you say, bitch?
what the fuck did you say, you little shit? But like, he's like, I would beat you up so bad in this game. I'm just like, all right,
Yeah.
like the grind begins now, bitch. All right, let's go. So
Yeah.
I started playing online. I was already watching content for the game. I was already watching people play it online. And like naturally, when you watch people play something like a fighting game, you're gonna pick up a couple things here and there.
Yeah.
And man, like not even that long ago, he commented again on one of my videos where like I'm playing more to my level today, and he's like, dude, you're way better at this game than me now. But like what got me started was him talking shit and saying that I'm trash at the game, and now like
Oh.
I fell in love with fighting games. Like these are like
Gotcha.
so like fighting games are so cool because like you're basing like everything around these reads, like reacting to what the player like your opponent's going to do, like conditioning them, like it really feels like you're having a conversation in a weird way.
Dude, I feel like, just to kind of, it's so funny. Like, it's eerie how similar we are. Because I'll tell you what. So I feel like you got into fighting games. You were a kid, right?
Uh,
Like how young were you when you started getting into
so
fighting games?
I
Or
played
were
fighting
you
games
older?
when I was a kid, but I
Okay.
didn't start getting into them until like deep into them until like 2017, 2018.
Oh, okay. So when did you do like? Because you did kickboxing, right?
A little bit. I messed around with so it was actually just boxing. You know,
Okay.
some friends and I, we'd get together. We kind of had our own club situation going on,
Okay.
and we practiced like religiously. We'd exercise. Like me and one of my best friends, Vince, like took it the most serious, and we
Yeah.
went out of our way and like did our best to like learn everything that we could. We like studied footage. We, exercised together. We jogged together. We'd actually like spar with each other, and
Yeah.
sometimes even have like mini matches against each other.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he weighed like 100 pounds more than me, so he was,
Oh, fuck.
yeah. But I was
Yeah.
still doing everything I could. Like I was still like extremely evasive. Like I was playing the
Hmm.
outboxer role, where if you don't know what outboxing is, it's just using your reach to kind of keep distance and like keep the other person out, and just like tagging them very like small here and there, and then like
Oh,
counter
okay.
punching as well.
Okay.
But my big 250 fucking pound Samoan best friend is just like, I'm gonna rip your face off with a punch, bro.
Yeah. He
And
just picked you up and he's like, "I'll break your body, then your spirit." Like bang, he just broke your back
you
over his
immediately
knee.
adopt the darkness, and then hits me with an uppercut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your body or your spirit.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, where were you going with that?
Uh, no, yeah. So I was just bringing that up just because, basically, like I kind of got into Guitar Hero, right? So when I
Oh,
was a
word.
kid, it was Guitar Hero for me, and I liked it. But there was this kid that was like, "Oh, you're only playing like on medium. Like, what are you like? It's like, oh, you got to play on expert." And then like that's what got me on this path. I was
Alright,
like, "Oh,
bitch.
okay." I was like, "Fuck you, fucking like." Like you know what I mean? I was just like turned the hat backwards. All of a sudden, I started playing the game. I just started playing it. Got all the way up to expert, and then it was to the point where I was like, I would just destroy this kid when we'd play, and then something changed. I wasn't so competitive about the game anymore. I actually like fell in love with playing the music. Does that make sense? So
Yeah,
I just like playing the game made me want to get a real guitar. So
that's
then
sick.
I asked for my birthday. I was like, "Can I get an electric guitar?" And I was 10, or I must have been 9 at the time. And for my 10th birthday, I wanted an electric guitar. My parents got me one, and then I'm a musician today because of that game. And
That's
I will
fucking sick.
solely say that. And I play guitar, I play bass, like I touched upon when we first started this podcast. And it's crazy. Like I don't look at music competitively at all. Like
Well, you
I
don't
think
do
I
ranked PvP on
no,
Rocksmith?
no, I'm not like fucking meet me on Rocksmith, bitch. No, I don't do that. No, I look at music like it's just like it's not about how good you are at it. It's about your expression of your personality. Like
Totally.
and music is art. But when I first got into it, it it was about being competitive. Like I was just like, I'm fucking destroying this kid at Guitar Hero, and then it turned for me. It turned more about making art and expressing yourself, and it turned into something kind of more beautiful and not so aggro. Which there isn't anything wrong with that, but it's just interesting. I thought maybe that fighting game is kind of what put you on the path of, because I know you talked to me about in the past about you boxing,
Yeah.
and I was kind of like, oh, maybe that's kind of like the parallel there, but I guess not. So my
Um,
bad.
in a way, I mean there's some similar aspects, cause like, especially with like the whole having a conversation with someone and like conditioning reads, so on and so
Hmm.
forth. Like
Yeah.
there's that same thing. I don't remember specifically what it's called, but I think of it as a circle step, where if both you and your opponent are rotating in the same direction, so to my right and
Yeah.
to my opponent's right as well, and we keep on rotating in the circle, and if I'm peppering him with jabs to keep him spinning in the right axis, if I throw a big left hook, he's going to be walking into that big left hook. Does that make sense?
Right.
So I'm pushing him in the direction I want to go. I'm doing like a setup, or if now that he thinks a jab is gonna like be coming, this hook is gonna open him up, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then like same thing with like a conversation, like, you know, you can tell when someone's faltering, they're like losing aggression or losing steam, but they're pushing through to like keep that aggression up because they're desperate to like want to like take you out or take you down.
Right.
I don't know. There's like a lot to be said. Like someone like
Yeah, I was gonna
flaunting
say,
their prowess.
the only reason I'm sorry, just the small point I just want to make is just the only reason I kind of made that assumption is just because from talking to you in the past, like, and kind of what you're going on about right now is that like you seem to have a very a deep understanding of fighting in general and have a strategy behind it when you talk about it. Kind of like how I have that perspective on music when I like
100%.
overanalyze songs and shit like that. So that's why I kind of made those parallels because you look at and analyze like the hit before the next hit kind of thing, like the setup, and you have a strategy, it seems,
Totally.
from talking to you, like more of a strategy than I would if I was fighting somebody. I would be just fucking throwing shit, like,
Sometimes
so.
that gets the job done. Like the old saying goes like, "All everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face." Like,
It's very true.
freaking on the same kind of spectrum, you know, talking about like fighting into fighting games, guitar into Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Let's go on to Tony Hawk Pro Skater into skateboarding. Was that the case for you?
Oh, good call.
Were you
Yes, actually.
a big pro skater player, and did that like fuel like a desire to skateboard?
100%. Yeah, I actually, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot that that was also the case for that too. It wasn't Pro Skater for me though. It was actually Tony Hawk's Underground, the first one. That was the first
Really?
Tony Hawk game I ever played, and I think that game, I have it right here. Hold on. I'll tell you what it came out.
I happen to have a copy of Pro Skater 2 in my underpants at
I
all time.
do have. I was literally looking at all of them. I have.
That's
'Cause I
tight.
collect all these old games. So 2000. No, 2003, I think. Yeah, it's 2003. So, I mean, God, I was 5 when I played that. So, yeah, I played that game and I got really into it, and it was the same exact thing. Obviously, I just didn't get as good at skateboarding as I did with a guitar, but yeah, I played that game, and then I was just like, this is so awesome. Skateboarding is so cool. And I mean, at that time, it was cool, but it wasn't like, it's not as socially acceptable as it was today. And
No.
what I mean by that is that, like, my parents didn't get it.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, I don't get it. They're like, what is skateboarding? And I'm like, it's like an extreme sport. I'm like, I was just like, Tony Hawk did this and this and this. They're like, yeah, but is it really, you know what I mean? They didn't get it when I was a
Mom,
kid.
Dad, I'm gonna go and do a 900 real quick.
Yeah, and they're like, what is that? Is that when you jump 900 times? I'm like, no.
Listen, you obviously know nothing about our Lord and Savior, Hawk Tony.
True.
Freaking so it actually wasn't the same for me in this case. Like I played, so I skated around from a young age, but I never thought about doing tricks or anything like that. I always had a skateboard since I was like 10, maybe even earlier.
Yeah.
And yeah, my first skateboard actually came from a storage unit, and it was a really shitty Walmart board, but it was a skateboard and I didn't care, and I got it from my dad and I was stoked. But
Yeah.
I played a lot of Pro Skater 4 specifically. I played as Kareem Campbell quite a bit.
Yeah. Dope
Um,
game.
And but the whole time I was playing those games, the whole time I was playing EA Skate even, like I never thought of it as like, oh man, I would really love to learn these tricks. Like I thought of them like way too separately. But
Okay, that's
I
interesting.
watched this YouTube series, or maybe it was a TV show that got turned onto YouTube or something. I think it was called like 1 in a Million or something like that. It was like a skateboarding series. I'll have to look it up. But I saw this dude do this one trick, and it inspired me to learn tricks. The trick is called the Merlin Twist, and I saw this guy do it on that show, and I was just like, that trick looks incredible. And I still cannot do it to this day. So
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
Like
mean-
that was the one case where it's like not the same, where it's not like that.
Yeah, and that's interesting because like I remember that I asked my parents, I was like, "Could you just buy me a skateboard?" And I mean, I was kind of the same way. I just when I was a kid, I just rode around. But it wasn't until I started like skating around with my friends, um, growing up, like going over to like a buddy's house, and they had like a senior center by their house, and I would skate around there with them. That's when it started like kind of fueling me, and I'm like, this is fun. Like I'm having fun skating with my friends.
Hell yeah.
It made me want to learn more tricks because I'd see one of my buddies, but I'm like, how the fuck did you just do that? And he was like, well, I did that. And then you learn tricks. Then you're like, I want to learn a trick now. And then the thing that really got me like wanting to like get into it was when I was like 10 or 11 and I saw Rodney Mullen skate.
Oh
And I was
man,
like, that guy is he
he's a
was so
wizard.
inspiring. Yeah. And then you try to do some of the shit he does and you just fall and break your arm or some shit. You're like, oh God.
I'm
But,
dying, but it's cool.
yeah, no, and then I didn't get back into it until I started skating with you, and then like there was a huge gap there. That was like from like 12, 13, maybe I think I was skating up 12, 14. So I think it was high school I stopped skating. And then after high school I started skating again when I was like 19, 18 when we first started hanging out. How old were we when we first met?
Dude,
think 19.
we were at least 21.
No.
Yes.
Were we?
Yeah.
When did I start working at
Dude,
a job? I don't want to just shout out our job on this.
I don't know. Yeah, fuck that place.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna say it, but I think 2018, right? So how old was I then?
Freaking.
Oh no, Dad, it must have been 2021. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Huh.
it feels like longer. It feels like we've been friends for some time now. But
We have. That's still 3 years.
yeah, that's true. But like
Yeah.
thinking about it too, and like you were like I didn't meet you organically. Like I met you through our mutual friend Troy and Justin.
Yep.
And
Uh-huh.
it's just funny like where we ended up. Like you and I have so much freaking in common. It's crazy.
It is crazy. It's honestly scary sometimes.
Are we the same people?
Like sometimes I'll just say a thought and I'm like, yeah.
Brad's probably thinking that.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, do I even need to say this? Like we're both like saying the same thing. But
Oh,
I'll just
man.
say it anyway. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
All right, I wanna talk a little bit. Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah. I think I didn't start skating until I was 21. That was all. That was all I was gonna say. It must have been then because I hadn't skated before that.
Yeah, skateboarding is like still fun to me, but I haven't been doing it like as frequently.
Yeah, neither have I.
And just because I've been going so freaking nuts on golfing, like trying to figure it out.
Me too. Me too.
Have you been recently? Have you been doing any range or any courses or anything?
I've
like
done
that?
the range. I did the range I think last week.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm keeping my form in check and everything
Nice.
like that.
I actually
haven't
just
played
had a
game in
breakthrough.
while, though. Dude, I know. I was gonna say, if you don't mind me saying, I saw on your Instagram you fixing your form, dude. Your form looks great.
Thank you. Yeah, I
Yeah,
have
it looks
blood
really
blisters
good.
on my hands now.
You got blisters on me fingers.
I'll
and
go.
you-
That's what I thought too. I got blisters on my fingers. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
dude.
No,
you
but
look great though. You're looking great out there, man.
thank you. It's like Sam has been a huge help. Like obviously you've like helped as well, but you know I freaking live with Sam. Like so if I'm running into a problem, she can be like, oh well, this is like what people do, and you need to like analyze this and this and this and like so bad. Like I want her arm to like get better because her arm is like a little fucked up, so she can't hit really. And so bad do I want her to get better, so like her and I can play, or the four of us can play, or whatever.
Yeah, that'd be way cool.
And
I'm sure
she-
you'd have a blast.
Yeah, she's telling me is like, oh, don't expect much from me because I haven't played since high school. I'm like, no, I don't care about that. Like, I just want to like.
I don't
share
think any
this.
of us expect much from any of us. Like we just go out there to have fun, you know. Like,
Dude, and
I'm
then
not trying to go
Troy
out there-
occasionally just like sends one to space.
I know. I don't get it.
I don't. He's like random. Like he rolls like a d20 to be a wizard.
Dude, he does. He rolls d20. Like he rolls the dice on everything. Skating. Like sometimes he'll skate and just out of nowhere he'll just do a crazy ass trick. I'm like, how the fuck?
It's
You know
very
what I'm talking
true.
about?
Like Cody and I will like very rarely just like pull something out of our ass that like neither of us were
Yeah.
expecting. Like,
yeah.
but with Troy, that is all he does. Is like he'll throw
Yeah.
like I don't know, like 100 kickflips. He won't land any of them, but like the one that counts, like
It'll be in
he'll
the middle of a
stick.
skate game. Yeah, and it'll be in the middle of a skate game, like the perfect time to be landing that trick. And I'm like, fuck me, like I
Like
gotta
you would.
follow
That
up.
was.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
same thing with when we all went golfing. Like I didn't expect
Yeah.
to do half as good as I did.
Yeah,
Not that
thank
any
you,
of
man.
us did amazing, but
Yeah.
we're no professionals, all right. But
No, and I don't mean great as in like we're fucking under par or anything like that when we play. I'm just saying like we were able to play.
yeah,
you
and
know,
just have
like,
a good time. We lost so
Yeah.
many golf balls. It
Almost
was
hit
crazy.
that deer.
Dude, I forget about that.
Dude,
Man.
crazy.
No, but I had like that was my first time on a course, and like I had so much fun.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely looking forward to the next time we go. Like I've been like engrossed in more golf content. Like I've been going to the range like crazy, so much so that yes, once again I have freaking blisters on my hands. Like my glove is actually bloody from one popping.
My God, commitment, dude. There you
Dude,
go.
I'm like an addict when it comes to almost anything. Like
Oh yeah, dude, that's me with golf though. I mean, I knew you would be hooked into it too because we kind of look at it the same way. You know, I looked at skating as something that's like an individual thing that you can only improve upon. You know, you don't rely on a team. And I was telling you this at work. I was like, I kind of look at golf at the same way where it's like I can't necessarily rely on other people for me to get better at the game. And I love that. You know, that's what got me
Absolutely.
hooked into it. And I knew that would be something that you'd be into too. So I'm so glad that you're into golf too, because the more buddies I have to go golfing with, the more opportunities I have to go golfing. So
hell
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Now I'm just waiting on my 7-iron. Like
Yeah.
I talked about I actually recently hung out with my mom because it's her birthday, and I wanted
awesome.
to
Happy birthday.
yeah, happy birthday, Mom. So I didn't know what my schedule was gonna be like for today. I didn't know if I was going into work or not, so I brought her some flowers, some cake, all that. You know,
Nice.
family
What a good
love.
son.
And I was telling her, it's like, oh yeah, like I recently, because of some friends of mine, got into like golf super hardcore, and she's like, well, you've kind of like always, like at least gone to the golfing range, like very sparingly, but like still went. I'm like, oh yeah, that's like helped me, even though my form was worse than it was now, or when we played even.
Yeah, I mean, you've obviously made a lot of improvements and quickly too. So that's awesome.
Dude, I'm just
That's
like
awesome.
like stoked. I don't know, like this is a lot of fun. And I actually, before we are recording this now, I actually just watched like an ex-professional video, like hit par on a course with like, what was it, like 70 quid clubs, a set of clubs or something like that. And it's like a
Yeah.
very cool video. And I've been watching like a lot of highlights. Like I'm just super engrossed
too.
and intrigued. And
Me too.
it brings me back to one time I was in the hospital, and the whole time I was in the hospital for like 2 weeks, I was just watching golfing for no apparent reason. Like I could have watched anything else. I'm just like, no, this is cool. Leave this on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how much you watch. Do you watch like any at all?
But like golf?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm always watching golf. I mean, I have YouTubers that I watch that I've like sent. I know I've sent you that I'm always just trying to like critique and fix my form. I'm glad I finally like, because that was the secret for me. Like, but whatever cracked in your head to like just understand, you're like, I got it. I cracked the code as far as your form goes. That's what happened with me when I went golfing with you and I saw that guy swing. I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh man.
that's what happened with me. So I'm glad that's happening with you, because I was just like, I think I know what to do. And then I'm sure you saw it. You saw the difference in my swing. Where I was just like, if I just slow down my backswing, I'm sending them. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I tell so many people about that. You actually have no idea. I'm like, oh hey, this guy that I know, he's really cool, bro. Like we played golf together sometime, and like he just randomly saw these old cats, and like we just let them pass us up, and Cody was using the showering gun on them, and just copied their shit, and like he was just doing so much better. Like I've talked to so many people about that exact instance.
it's crazy. It's crazy because I'm not. It's like when it comes to me learning something new, I've never had such a breakthrough that quickly on anything. Like it's not even guitar. You know, it's like that was 14 years to get to the level I'm at now with the guitar. But like that's the first time I ever just saw something and I was like, I get it.
It all makes sense now.
Yeah, dude.
Like
Like being unplugged from the Matrix, dude. It's like
with mine, I just was thinking about like everything anyone has said to me, but also like not thinking too hard on it. And like I bent my knees, like I threw my butt back like I'm trying to get my homegirl pregnant, and
yeah.
like thinking about like shoulder to face, like keeping my arms straight, like having the club be behind my back. And I just thought about it and just did it. And the first time I even tried it, like it worked perfectly. Like I sent it like 200 yards. And this was after like weeks of buckets and buckets and buckets of balls, only to like be topping super hard and not have it go anywhere.
Yeah,
And
that's
yeah, it was just crazy because like I am definitely a practice fiend, and for like something for me just like let me just try this and then just have it instantly work, like I wouldn't have thought it would just work like that.
honestly, yeah, with just how confident you were with your original form before, I honestly thought I was like, I don't know if it's going to be that easy for him to break out of that because you were getting comfortable with it. So you were sending the ball really far, but you were so comfortable with how your backswing was. I was like, I don't know. Like, it's not that I didn't think you were ever going to get out of it. I wasn't thinking that. I was just
Hmm.
thinking like it might be more difficult for him to break the habit. But then I saw that video of you with the full backswing, and I was like, there you go. I was like, fuck yeah. Like the
Well,
first time I saw it, I was like, that's at a kid. That's good shit.
so I left myself wondering. I was like, should I even change my form?
Yeah.
Because like it was going for the most part where I wanted it to go, and like it was going like far enough, and even my iron form is still like pretty whack, but it works for
Hmm.
me for no real reason.
Yeah.
Um, but I just got in like a rut with the drivers, and I don't know. I was just like something told me it's like I need to fix this. I don't know. And even now, like I've run into like a slight problem where like I'm slicing pretty hard to the right.
Oh, I still do that too, dude. So it's not just you. I still
But
have a slice.
something like I'm making a point to like talk to anyone and everyone like, oh, hey, do you have any advice? Like I'm having this problem. Like I'm not shy at all when it comes to my problems because I'm trying to like improve, right?
Yeah, of
And
course.
like I'll ask like an older gentleman. It's like, oh yeah, I'm like hitting it really far. I'm like hitting it 200 plus yards, but like I'm having this mean slice. Like what do I do? And he told me, and if my hand wasn't fucked up, I would love to go out right now and go back to the range.
Oh, me too, buddy. Me too.
But he's like, oh well, just make sure you're looking at the ball the whole time, and like make sure your club is following the same line the whole time,
Yeah.
because he's like, oh, I think I noticed when you like bring your upswing back, and I like kind of move my wrists too as well. Like after I move my wrists, like I move it like more behind my head when it's at the precipice of the backswing. So that when it comes down from that and that change of positions, I think that's what's creating the slice. So I like slowed it down and I was hitting more straight. I was still cutting like a little bit, but like it was like correcting that. I'm like, okay, like I just need to slow things down, follow the exact line of when I bring it back. And yeah, like that's been helping a little bit correct that problem. But now I have to sit, have my hand recover, and that's like so painful for me. And I don't know
Yeah.
why my hands got the blood blisters. I'm not sure if it's from just the raw practice that I've been doing.
Oh, I mean, I still get calluses too, man. I have. Speaking of, I have calluses on my hand right now from golfing. You know. Which hand was it? Out of curiosity.
Left hand. I got
Think you
these
need a
as
left-handed glove, buddy.
and I was wearing a left-handed glove.
Oh, you were?
Yeah,
Oh, I thought you
and
had a right-handed glove.
it was well, I just got one, and
Oh, okay.
after that first session, I got the blood blisters with the glove. And the second
Oh.
session with the blood blisters, they popped in the glove, and now my glove is slightly bloody.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm not sure if it's actually like maybe I
It could be
don't
the
need a glove.
sweat.
I don't
It could be
know.
the sweat inside your because that'd probably be why you got blisters. It's just your hand was getting sweaty inside the glove. But yeah, I just remember the last time we golfed, you had a right-handed glove. So my bad. Maybe it's not that then. I don't know.
I'm not sure. Like maybe it's just raw practice, and my hands are not used to wearing a glove because I haven't been using them. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure, but I'm definitely more than looking forward to the next time we play. Like that's like I was a bit bummed out when you guys couldn't make it out the last time to friendly course, and I actually just recently hit at the friendly range, and I hated it.
It's terrible.
I actually think it's like really garbage. Like the ground is really soft. Like there's no mats, so you have to use tees. I don't have a problem with using tees exactly,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but like the ground is so soft that once you strike your ball, your tee will fly out of
Yep.
where you planted it immediately, and you're
Don't-
hitting uphill as well.
I will say that the course is a lot better than the driving range.
Okay.
A lot better. But yeah, like I hope that doesn't deter you away from wanting to.
No,
play
like
on-
I want to
on
play the course just because it's a new course, for me, but like yeah, my experience with the range was so trash. Like I said, you're hitting uphill slightly,
Yeah.
and if you spend your entire day topping, like I was initially, until I actually made it back to Fallon, like you're gonna be a little pissed off for sure. Although I will say the balls they use are a lot nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they almost look like new. They look like clean and everything like that. I think you get less for $2 more money, but
Hmm.
the quality of the ball seems better. But I
Well,
prefer quantity
The
in this
driving
case.
range in general just seems
Kind of ass. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, dude, I'm looking forward to golfing too. I just haven't been able to golf. I haven't golfed like actually played in a couple of weeks now, just because I gotta save money for the holidays and everything
got
like
you.
that, which sucks because I would rather be golfing.
I hear you. I
But,
definitely hear you, bro.
It probably over break. I'm gonna try and take like a week off.
Nice.
We'll just technically only a couple days off, quote unquote, from work, but it'll be a week straight because of Christmas and New Year's.
Hmm.
So I'm going to try and go golfing between there, and you're more than welcome to tag along if you want. But
I would love to if I have the opportunity.
if not, I totally understand because it's the holiday season and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
Family, kids, girlfriend,
Yeah.
etc. Which,
Yeah.
not that it's a downer spending it with them, but I just, it's been
Oh,
a
I
while
get it,
since
yeah.
we've golfed, and I'm definitely looking forward to the next time we can actually get around to doing so.
yeah, me too, dude.
Damn, what was I gonna tell you? I actually went and hit up Fallon course like semi recently. I posted a video about it, but I only ended up playing like 14 holes because like I was just running into problems, and I was just like I need to go back to the range and like fix these. So in total, I hit like 3 buckets of balls that day and played 14 holes.
You stopped at 14. What was it that made you stop?
Just my own like. I didn't care to continue and do like another lap around the place, and I was just like, I just want to fix my problems. That's about it.
Okay.
It wasn't like I'm not having fun or like I'm not enjoying playing the course. I'm just like, it's like the fighting game. Like I need to take this back to training mode. Like I need to see what's good. I need to fix my problems.
Right. You just felt like you weren't getting any benefit by continuing the game. You just wanted to fix whatever it was that was holding
Yeah,
you back,
absolutely.
kind of thing?
So
Cool, man. Cool.
what else, man? Like what else are you up to? Like, do you have any like projects? Anything personal you got going on?
Well,
Anything personal you're working on?
I kind of touched on it a little bit at the beginning of this podcast, but I'll go in a little more detail. I just got a drummer for my band Poolside Manor.
Nice,
So
dude.
I'm really excited about that. I have a bunch of songs written, but I needed a drummer. So I'm really looking forward to actually getting together and jamming with him, but that won't be till after the holidays because December's so fucking busy, man. Not only the holidays, but it's like I've got friends coming down visiting, and Spider-Man and Matrix, like we talked about, both coming out this
Oh,
month.
yeah.
It's just jam-packed, and I've got like tons of friends going like, when are we buying tickets? Are we all going together? Are we, so
What's
it's just-
happening? Yeah.
Exactly. So, I'm just really busy, but once the holidays are over, I'm going to get together with them. You actually know him. It's Will from work.
Okay.
So he wants to jam, and I'm like, cool.
Oh
So,
yeah. Okay. I know who you're
Yeah.
talking about.
yeah, I don't want to completely shout him out just in case he doesn't want to be exposed or anything on here, but
Exposed.
Yeah, so you know him though. So
Yeah, I got you.
yeah, so I'm really looking forward to jamming. So that's really exciting because I don't know, drummers are really hard to come by, especially drummers that aren't already in like 3 bands. So that's really exciting for me. And then so I've just been songwriting, visiting with some friends and stuff like that, getting prepared for the holidays and whatnot. So I'm usually pretty busy. But this month at least these last 2 weeks, I've been really sitting on the back burner just because I know these next 2 weeks
Are
are
gonna
gonna be
go
really,
so crazy.
yeah. So I've just been working and hanging out. And
Well,
then, doing this
speaking
podcast
on
with you.
music, you, sir, in particular, you need to put yourself out there a little bit more. I know you're kind of like showing yourself out there now, but You know, I've told you a number of times, brother, you need to get on like YouTube or TikTok. I would love to see your stuff get put out there a little bit more, and kind of like, you know, as much as like I originally didn't like TikTok all that much, like it is actually such a great platform for like, you know, a sense of exposure. Like YouTube is very oversaturated, and like it is a monopoly on YouTube. But I feel like TikTok is just like, you know, you have more of a chance for growth as like a smaller creator. And even doing both though, like I feel like I would really love to see your stuff put out there more. Like maybe if you're okay with it, like I could put something in this podcast that like, you know, kind of shares you know, some of your musical prowess as well.
Yeah, and I just want to start off just going off of what you said. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that.
Dude,
That
I
really
love
means
your
a lot
stuff,
to me.
man. Like
Yeah,
it's
that's
you
really
sound
kind
great.
of you to say. I don't know. I've thought about putting stuff on TikTok. I'm just not. I don't know. I feel like the reason why I never got a TikTok or anything like that is just because I feel like I don't want to be that guy. Like, have you seen that meme where it's like, "Hello, fellow kids," and he's holding a skateboard, but he's old as shit? It's that guy. I don't know. I just feel like I don't want to be that guy that's like, I'm too old for TikTok. You know what I mean?
Nah,
And it's like,
man, no such thing.
you know what I mean? I also don't know it well enough to navigate it and know how to.
I mean,
do
it's
the
more or
exposure
less
on it.
it's more or less like Instagram. You know, you
Okay.
post your clip, you put in what it's about, you drop your hashtags, so on and so forth, and you send it out into the ether. Like even if my videos don't get a lot of likes on TikTok, like they have like 1,000 views.
Sure.
So like even just putting it out there, like, you know, you'll stumble onto people that like your stuff, and like it's like just another decent means of like putting yourself out there. And I would love to see you in particular put yourself out there more, because I know like how very musically capable you are. Like I hear a lot of your stuff on your stories on Instagram, which if you
Yeah.
want, dude, I'll put your fucking Instagram in the description too.
Sure,
I can't
sure, man.
guarantee how many people are gonna see this.
Oh no, I mean, I don't have a problem with that at all. I really appreciate that too, and that's a lot of kind words to say about my music. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, the only reason I've really held back on it, I guess, is I don't know. Like I put a lot of my content on SoundCloud, like I said, not a ton of it, but like as far as just like a finished product, like an actual recorded thing that I do through my DAW, my direct audio workplace, or my softwares that I have on here, I will put on SoundCloud. But as far as just like kind of getting exposure and recognition, I've thought about doing TikTok, but after you saying that, I might have to look into it a little more, you know, and see what I can
Please
do.
do. Like,
Yeah.
and just know, like, too, even with YouTube, even with TikTok, like, it doesn't have to be like this finished, like, masterpiece, is like 100% finished product. Like, it can just be you, a guitar, and, you know, just jam out like how you do on the Instagram stories, bro. I think those are fantastic, and I would love for more people to see them.
Yeah, thank you, dude. Thank you. Yeah, and I mean, I'm well versed enough to where I've seen TikToks and I get the app for the most part. I guess what I mean is I don't know how the app itself works. I've never navigated the app. I've never installed it. I've never even used it. So
It's pretty easy, brother. If you have any questions, I'm more than help you.
Yeah, for sure. But I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man. You know you have my support, and hopefully anyone else who's
As to
watching
you.
out there. And I
As to you.
think, unless you have anything else to touch upon or talk about,
No, we talked about pretty much everything, man.
we definitely went on some hardcore tangents. I appreciate you coming through. I hope you had a good time. I definitely had a good time
brother,
chatting
I
up with
did.
you.
I hope you did too.
And man, I think I'm definitely gonna have to have you on again sometime, and hopefully you will be the first in-person guest. We're actually gonna do this in person, but you know,
Yeah.
we're already probably having a day to begin with.
Yeah, for sure. And if you want to do it again, yeah, I'll definitely swing by and we can do it in person. I'd be down.
100%. Or I can bring the cast to you, my brother.
Yeah, that works too. Wherever works, man. Appreciate it though. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, family, stay healthy. You have a good one.
You too. Later,
And
man.
for those of you watching on YouTube, I'll see you all later. Peace.